Chat, I've missed you all so much, and we finally got the second account back as well. It is so good to see you all. I kind of took yesterday off. I touched some grass, and I'm very happy that I did because I am ready for some debates today. It is so good to see you all. What is up, Cam, Zach, and Leah, and Kitty? What is going on, Parsley and Lexi? For everyone tuning in here for the first 200 people, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be having some debates. We are talking to more people that think being a lesbian is wrong. As I say every single day, when I start my stream per se, I want to expose the fact that there is no good argument insofar as justifying that being a lesbian is wrong. It is literally all prejudice, no different than YT supremacy or that of a neo-Nazi. So if you disagree with me, if you are sitting over there in your room and you're like, oh, I think being a lesbian is wrong and I'm going to prove this guy wrong, I want you to hop in the guest requests. Awesome. Also, what's up, Ben, here. I guess to go over my position before we do start to get our first guests in of the day. So I don't think there's anything wrong with being a lesbian, and it is like literally the world's most indefensible view. There's no good reasons insofar as why it would be wrong. But guys, let's start spamming that chat, all right? Let's also start sharing out this live. Let's try to get 200 shares and start double tapping. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start loading up the guest requests. Let's see what Boxer28 has to say. It's probably a fetus, but we got to work through all of the little babies to get an actual debate going. Just be patient. What's up, Boxer? How old are you?
22.
Oh, not a fetus. Wow. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong, man?
I kind of disagree with your question. I don't understand why you mean being lesbian is wrong. I think the acts of homosexuality is against natural law.
Just reference it as lesbian intercourse. TikTok doesn't like that word. So why is lesbian intercourse wrong?
Well, we have to look at it through like a broad scale of things. We can't look at it specifically. We have to look at it at a holistic view. So any act, whether it's like anything that closes the act of life is wrong. So like you say like it's hard to describe it like
Are you saying that lesbian intercourse is wrong because it doesn't lead to reproduction?
same with any, we have to look at it holistically, correct?
Do you think
So
that being celibate is wrong because being celibate doesn't lead to reproduction?
no, being celibate isn't wrong.
So what's the difference between just maintaining celibacy and engaging in lesbian intercourse for the purpose of pleasure, like pair bonding or love?
Well, being celibate is you're not having relationships with anybody.
Right, but like what I'm saying here is that rather you're abstaining from relationships or engaging in same-gendered relationships as a lesbian, like none of these things are conducive towards reproduction. Not to mention that lesbians can reproduce, just not through the means of intercourse with a partner.
No,
so like what's the argument here? You're engaging in a form of intercourse that doesn't lead to reproduction. Why is that wrong?
So the argument is, I'm not saying that we should point out specifically on homosexual acts.
Just say lesbian acts. I'm telling you to say that just for TikTok US.
We should point it at like a holistic view. We shouldn't be narrowing something on one topic. So like I'm saying that
that's how we discuss this. If you hold to the view that lesbian intercourse is wrong, you have to like demonstrate sufficient reason insofar as why that would be the case. And like you told me that it's not conducive towards intercourse, and then I asked you celibacy is wrong, and then you said no. However, celibacy is not conducive towards intercourse. So it's like, what's the relevant distinction here insofar as why it would be wrong to engage in lesbian intercourse, but not wrong to maintain celibacy?
So if we're looking at the celibate standpoint, in the Bible, it doesn't say anything wrong with being celibate, but it's because you're.
Oh, it has to do with the Bible?
No, it doesn't have to do with the Bible. I'm just saying, like, if we want to look at the Bible, because you tend to reference it a lot and kind of misinterpret a lot of things.
Oh, so actually your argument here has nothing to do with the natural order of things. That has nothing to do with any secular perspective insofar as why it would be wrong to engage in lesbian intercourse. And it also doesn't concern facts, reason, or logic. It concerns words written on text by men that you think have divine authority. So I guess we'll start off with this question. Can you name a single verse in the Christian Bible that tells us lesbian intercourse is morally wrong?
I'm not looking at it at a specific standpoint. I'm saying overall, in a holistic standpoint, we can't just point out a certain group of minorities saying that they're wrong. I'm saying, like, straight sex that leads to no children is wrong. Like,
for what reason?
If you're doing it for pleasure, and if you're doing it for yourself pleasure, that is morally wrong. So we can't.
Yeah, for what reason? Why is intercourse that doesn't lead to reproduction wrong?
Because you're not accepting that something that you can bring into life, and you're denying it for your self pleasure. That's selfish.
Well, I mean, what if it's pleasurable to an individual to abstain from intercourse? Isn't this like denying like the potentiality of bringing life into the world for their own pleasure?
Well, no, we look at it through Jesus. Jesus was
So
holy.
once again, it has to do with it has to do with the Bible. Okay, so we'll just ask you a couple questions here. So
Sure.
in order for it to be the case that that the Bible has the moral authority to dictate what is morally right and wrong, the Christian God has to exist. But I don't even want to get to the argument on, well, why do you know or how do you know that the Christian God exists? I just want to start off with talking about intercourse that doesn't lead to reproduction. Where in this damn Bible does it say that this is wrong? How do we know that this is wrong in accordance with God's moral law?
Well, we look at it through Sodom and Gomorrah, where they had uh, sexual immorality with people of the same sex, and that's where God destroyed the city.
So God destroyed
Uh,
the city because they were literally raping angels and raping other men. They weren't using same-gendered intercourse as a genuine expression of consentful love. No, they were using it as a war tactic to embarrass and like emasculate the men of like the opposing like individuals in which they disagreed with, and it states this in the text.
okay, so I do respect your opinion. I'm not bashing a specific group. I'm just saying as a holistic
Yeah,
standpoint
you're
that
so now when you get like your logic refuted, you back off from the particular topic of, well, why is it wrong for two lesbians to engage in intercourse, and you take this quote unquote holistic standpoint, and then you get destroyed. We'll just ask you about this. Yeah, how do you know that
sure.
the Bible is accurate in the determination of what is good and bad?
Well, we look at it through history of the Catholic Church being founded 2,000 years ago. We have 500 witnesses seeing Jesus' death and resurrection.
No, that's just what the Bible says. It makes that claim. How do we know that that claim is correct?
Well, how do you know that George Washington lived? Do you have pictures of him?
No, we have historical evidence. In the same way,
Right.
we don't have historical evidence to indicate any authenticity to the claims made in Corinthians, such as the idea that 500 people were eyewitnesses of Jesus' resurrection. I mean, how do you know that the Quran's false? With your evidentiary standard, you'd have to assume that that is just as true as the Bible, because we are to believe any words written on paper by men 2,000 years ago, I guess. And
Right.
Ruler, I appreciate you for the subscription.
Right. So we look at history. We see that we have
Agbor, I
art.
appreciate you for the $2 on Venmo. Thank you for the love.
So we have historical evidence of the Bible, and it's
Yeah,
so the
what's the
Catholic Church.
historical evidence for the claim that 500 people witnessed Jesus Christ rise from the dead?
Oh yeah, it's all over in the New Testament.
Okay, so you're saying that the New Testament, provides evidence for the New Testament. So this is a circular argument. In fact, it's the same argument that a Muslim can make, and you couldn't deny their evidentiary standard here. You're saying that there's this book that you really like, and because the book says that the book's accurate, this means that the book's accurate, right?
Well, we have 2,000 years of history of it. We have Saint Peter, who is when Jesus gave him authority to give him for you, you are the rock of my church, and we have it a couple hundred years later. The Catholic Church was founded, and the first pope was Peter. And we go back through hundreds of different popes. That's history of the Bible right there.
That's inauthentic, inverifiable history that's only supported from the claims of the early church fathers, with no greater evidentiary standard being invoked here. Like, this is once again, as I continue to reiterate, the same evidentiary standard that a Muslim could use to justify Islam, or that a Hindu could use to justify Hinduism. Like, if you are to make like a historically based claim here that the Bible is a true description of reality and the moral claims that it makes are accurate, you can't just say, oh, well, a lot of people for a long time have thought it is accurate. Because it is the case that the same thing could be said about literally any other religion. Like, I need you to justify the existence of the Christian God through the use of legitimate means. I want you
Sure,
to provide me with an evidentiary standard that cannot be dissected and torn to shit by me in less than 30 seconds.
sure. We look at the Vatican being around for 2,000 years, all the popes that have been around, and we do
Okay,
claim that
yeah,
Jesus.
church
Excuse
history.
me, I'm talking. You're interrupting. So when we look at the Catholic standpoint, that's when the Bible was written. The Catholics put the Bible together by the Council of Nicaea, and we stuck through the same stand. We created standards from the Bible, and that's the church has been around for 2,000 years. It's been
Okay,
attacked. It's been
Boxer, I
destroyed.
appreciate you for coming up. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next guest. I've given
Why?
you the same response to like this now 4, 5 times. You
No,
continue to reiterate the claim that, well, it is the case that Christianity is
I'm trying to
true
explain
because
myself, but
there's
you're interrupting
2,000
me.
years of church history, which then I respond is true of other religions as
You're not
well,
letting me get to
which
my point.
then you don't respond to, and you reiterate the same idea that, well, it's been around forever.
Well,
Also,
dude,
Ian, I appreciate you so much for the raid. Let's get some W Ians in the chat. I
you're
appreciate you so much. Hope you had a
you're
good
interrupting
stream.
me,
Let's get a
sir.
W
You're
Ian.
interrupting me. You're not letting me speak. So,
You
we're
continue to
going.
say the same
Jesus.
thing over and over again.
No, so Jesus was the only one that claimed that he was God and fully human and fully divine.
And how do we
No
know that
other,
that claim is accurate?
because he said it in the Bible.
Oh my God, he said it. Okay,
So
but how do we
what
know
other
that that
God,
is an accurate? Whoa,
what
whoa,
other
whoa!
religion has?
Slow down, slow down.
You're interrupting me. You're
I'm
not
gonna go
letting me
ahead and
speak.
speak now. So you're saying that Jesus Christ is the Son of God because the
Yes.
Bible says that he's the Son of God, correct?
What other claim has other religions say that they're fully God and fully human?
I don't think any other religion has claimed that. So do you
Right.
mind responding to my question? You know that Jesus is the Son of God because the Bible says that Jesus is the Son of God, correct?
Right. Yes.
Okay. So how do you know that the Bible is accurate in its prescription of Jesus Christ being the Son of God?
Well,
Big
we look at
bananas.
it through, like I said, like we look through it. It could also be personal testimonies. Like it doesn't have to be just the Bible itself. People have testimonies, like the communion, when the Catholic priest has miracles through the Eucharist. You can see that when there's a story in I forget where, but the priest was running out of Eucharistic pieces of bread, and right when he turned around, the bread filled up in his cup. There was no more bread in the cup until he turned around and it was filled up again. So we can see that there's a bunch of miracles that scientists, different scientific groups can't explain. That's why they call it
Agor, I
miracles.
appreciate you for the $2 on Venmo. So you know that Jesus Christ is the Son of God because the
Yes.
Bible says that he's the Son of God. And you know that the Bible is accurate because there's been miracles within the Christian church. So in response to the argument from miracles, it is also the case that there has been miracles reported from every other religion that has ever existed. This is not exclusive to Christianity. But if it was the case that the Christian God exists, but none of the other gods from any of the other religions exists, Nancy, I appreciate you for that a mustache. It would be unexpected to have miraculous testimonies from followers of other religions, unless it was the case that those miraculous testimonies were false. And if you're going to baselessly assume the miraculous testimonies of other religions as false, without any reason to accept those from Christianity, that would introduce some, logical distinction between those as reported from other religions, this is illogical by nature. Not only is it the case that these miracles, as defined by the Catholic Church, have gone unverified given adequate observation and academic and scientific experimentation to verify the validity of them, they're nothing more than claims made by man, the same claims made by other men that follow other religions.
No, it actually was verified through the Catholic Church. We have the moral standard, and the Pope is the one that verifies miracles. So it's not by, I don't know what's funny about it, man. I'm trying to talk.
Yeah, you're saying that, well, this one man said that the miracle happened, therefore this miracle must have happened.
No,
Okay, I'm
you have to
another
get
man
it,
that said it didn't happen.
you
What's the
have to get it
difference?
verified. The Pope is the last person to get it verified through. It's not just
What does
one
the
man.
Pope have to do with the evidentiary based verification of these claims of miracles? Does he use the scientific method to conclude that this was a truly, mysterious, unnaturalistic observation, that it was a true miracle and could only be caused by God? Or does he just say that it's a miracle and he's an old man that doesn't really know much about science or academia, and he just kind of spends his life worshiping a false deity?
So you're calling the Pope uneducated? Well, a lot of the popes actually have hundreds of doctorates. So I don't understand what you're saying. Moral theology and
Then can you
sociology.
explain? Like the process used for the verification of these miracles?
I don't have the whole process, but there is a process. There's step by
And what
step
is it?
process. I don't have the. I can look it up for you right now and see
All
but
right,
there
Mox,
is
I
a
appreciate you for
process.
coming up. We're gonna go to move on to our next guest. I don't like really feel like doing the mental gymnastics today. I feel like I, unilaterally demonstrated like the flaws within your position. What's up, Jack? How old are you?
I'm 18.
Nice, man. What year were you born in?
May 27th, 2006.
Perfect, man. Do you think that being lesbian is wrong?
So, of course, this is a very morally confusing question, in my opinion, because personally, I believe it's a sin. But for other people, I believe that it's their choice, and I think the freedom of choice is so important.
Yeah, hey
So,
man, it's not a choice to be a lesbian. When did you choose to be
no,
straight?
like I'm saying I can't force them to not be lesbian. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, sure. So are you a Christian?
I'm a Catholic, yes, Roman Catholic.
What verse in the Christian Bible tells us that being a lesbian is a sin?
So we know in Leviticus, I can't name the exact, I don't have the exact verse, but
Don't
Leviticus,
worry, I can. Leviticus 18:22 and Leviticus 20:13. They both
yes.
pretty much say that being lesbian is wrong unequivocally. Well, here's my question. If the book of Leviticus in the Christian Bible is accurate in telling us what is good and bad, well, do you accept Leviticus 25 when it tells us that slavery is good?
Can you read the full verse with context?
Yeah, Leviticus 25:44 through 44 says, "Your male and your female slaves that are come from the nations around you, from them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living amongst you and the members of their clan born in your country, and you can bequeath your slaves as inherited property to your children and own them as property for life." And it's
So
funny that you were
it is.
asking me for the specific verses as well as the context from the Bible, insofar as your consideration on if this verse is accurate or inaccurate, but then you didn't even know the fucking verse in Leviticus that says being a lesbian is wrong, and you couldn't name the context if you tried your hardest. Isn't this pretty hypocritical for you to just baselessly say that Leviticus somewhere says that being a lesbian is wrong, but as soon as I point out that it also says that owning slaves is good, that you ask me for the specific scripture and ask me to substantiate the context? Why didn't you hold the same standard to yourself when you said that it says being lesbian is wrong?
Because you didn't ask for the context. I did.
Sure. Well, yeah. What's the context to Leviticus 18:22 when the Bible says being lesbian is wrong, Jack? He's running, guys. For the 1.3 thousand people up in here, I appreciate for having you here. Let's try to double tap our way up to 50,000 likes here, and also make sure to share. Oh, wow! I was taking my victory lap a little bit early. You came back. How we doing?
Oh, I didn't know when you exit the app, it turns your mic off. Okay.
So do you know the
I'm
context of
getting my
Leviticus
Bible
18?
open right now. So you're
Okay, so
still in
this is
Leviticus.
this is you saying that you don't know the context. Perfect. So yeah, once again, do you accept the moral conclusion formed in Leviticus 25 when God says that it's okay to own slaves?
So did he say that it was? You claim that he said it was good, and I did not hear in the verse that he said it was good to own slaves.
Yeah, so God said it's permissible to own slaves. We could inductively reason that therefore he thinks owning slaves is good, because if he thought that owning slaves was bad and he said you could own them, well, then he wouldn't be all good.
So wait, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
If he thought that owning slaves was bad and he said that you could own them, well, he'd just be saying you could do these bad things. Would an all good God say that you could do bad things?
So actually, he does say that, and the reason he says that is because you have the choice, morally, to pick between good and bad, and that's why the freedom of choice is so important. Because
So if God were to say in the Bible that you may murder your neighbor, would he still be all good? Gosh, I appreciate you for
can
that
you go
mustache.
outside and murder someone right now?
I can.
Exactly. Does that make it good?
Well, no, but if God said you may murder your neighbor, would he still be all good?
You may, but it's not meaning it's good.
So can you answer my question here? If he said you may ethnically cleanse, you may genocide all infants on earth, would he still be all good?
Yes, because that doesn't mean you should. He didn't say
So
you
then why
should.
does he say in the Ten Commandments that thou shalt not kill?
Because you shouldn't. He said you may, but you shouldn't.
Okay, I mean, this is obviously just you like operating in bad faith and misinterpreting the text. I'll go ahead and give you another verse that even makes it worse
Hold
for
on,
you.
I have a question.
In Leviticus 20, no. In Exodus 21, verses 20 through 21, God says that a slave master could beat their slave as long as they recover in 3 days because the slave is their property.
Okay, he can. Does it mean he should?
my God, motherfucker. This is God's moral law. Is God perfect and good?
God himself, like God, the divine being?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, does this mean that God is a perfectly good moral lawgiver?
I'm sorry, like, what are you asking? Like,
I'm asking you if God is a perfectly good moral lawgiver.
yes.
Does this mean that God's moral law is perfect and good as well?
Yes.
So when God says that you may own and beat slaves, this is perfect and good?
Because you have the choice of not doing it and you shouldn't.
So, just for some more context on the scripture here, to show you how absolutely absurd this straw man is, in the same section of Leviticus 25, when God says that the Israelites could own non Israelites as human property for life, he also explicitly states that they can't own Israelites as human property for life. He goes through this whole nationalistic chattel slavery thing where he's like, Israelites can't own other Israelites as slaves. In fact, you can't treat them cruelly. But Israelites could own non-Israelites as slaves, and they could treat them cruelly. So are you saying here that this wasn't a moral prescription from God, that it's not a bad thing for them to own slaves?
Did God say you should own slaves? Can you find me a verse where it says God says, Jesus says you should own slaves? Can you find me that verse, please?
So once again, the verse doesn't say you should own slaves.
Exactly,
It says
because that just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Okay, but we've already went over this, Jack. In fact, I clarified this with even more context, and then I asked you a question about that context that you weren't able to respond to. So I'll just go over it one more time, and let's see if you could finally answer my question. So in Leviticus 25, God speaks to Moses and tells Moses that the Israelites can't own other Israelites as slaves. He says that that is wrong. He says that that's something that they shouldn't do. But then he says, well, if they're not from Israel, if they're Egyptians or Canaanites, that they could, that they may own and buy slaves from these countries. So when God says this, is he merely describing that they have the free will to do this? Or is he making the moral prescription that it's not wrong to do this?
So, in the interpretation, of course, because the Bible is interpretized, you can't. I mean, Jesus says to pluck your eyes out, but when you look at a woman incorrectly, but we don't do that. So the Bible is interpretized, and at least according to my faith, right? You have to have faith. And I would say that he's saying you have the free will to.
Okay, so you're saying that we should interpret this text when God says that they may own slaves as just meaning that they had the free will to own slaves. So when God says that they couldn't own other Israelites as slaves, should we interpret this too as meaning that they literally didn't have the free will to own other Israelites as slaves?
Possibly because Moses was a prophet and he freed the Israelites.
So God infringed upon their free will to do bad things. Why couldn't God infringe upon all of our free will to do bad things?
He didn't infringe upon their free will because there was slavery.
Yeah, you just said that he did infringe upon their free will.
There were Israelites.
Because if the interpretation, oh, okay, and that's how we know that he's not speaking on their free will. Because remember, you said that when God says that they may own non-Israelites as slaves, he's saying here that they literally have the free will to own slaves, right? But then in the follow-up verse, when it's like they can't own other Israelites as slaves, we'd have to have that. We'd have to hold that interpretation consistent, meaning that this is a description from God that they literally didn't have the free will to own other Israelites as slaves. But we know that's false because given your own Christian doctrine, we have the free will to do evil things. God just doesn't want us to. In fact, historically speaking, they did own other Israelites as slaves. So this is why this interpretation is absurd and false, telling us that when God permisses the ownership of non-Israelite people as slaves and impermisses the ownership of Israelite people as slaves, he's speaking in moral ramifications here. He's saying it is morally permissible to own non-Israelites as slaves, and it is morally wrong to own Israelites as slaves.
So, quick context, in the Catholic faith, which is my sect of Christianity, of course, we believe that we personally can't interpretize text. So if you're coming from a Baptist view, which I used to be, I could totally
you just gave me an interpretation of text. Did you fucking break your own doctrine?
Which was from the church and the church fathers.
No, that is not from a single church father, sir.
It was from the. That's why I said it was from.
Okay, well, I'm telling you that the church fathers' interpretation is inconsistent because you don't apply that same standard to God's statement that they couldn't own other Israelites as slaves, right? So I just fucking showed a flaw in your own doctrine, and this is just silly mental gymnastics from a really illogical and irrational Christian. I have ultimately destroyed you in this conversation.
Okay,
and this
so
is why the Bible is such an unreliable basis in seeking moral truths. Like, we understand here that I don't believe in the Christian God, and I could reject your argument by just rejecting the existence of this higher deity that says it's wrong to be lesbian. But instead of doing that, I accepted, for all intents and purposes, the existence of the Christian God, then internally critiqued your standard of the Bible. And this is why it is so incredibly irrational to use these words written on paper by men that you cherry pick and misinterpret to mean, or as a form of justification, to perpetuate your prejudice, marginalization, and harm against a third of the human population just because you feel like it.
I have no issue with gay people.
Don't say that on live. Say lesbian.
I have no issue with lesbians. I personally have sinned multiple times.
Saying that this intrinsic attribute of the character that they didn't choose, that they can't change, and that doesn't harm you is somehow intrinsically wrong is perpetuating hate, is perpetuating harm, is perpetuating marginalization. If you want to internally cope and make yourself feel better because you're just saying it's a sin and I've sinned too, well, feel free, but I'm just going to point out how demonstrably hypocritical and harmful that is.
Okay, so I have a quick question. So I believe that it's a sin. That doesn't mean they're bad people. That doesn't mean that they're not, like, I believe they're just people. They've sinned. I've sinned.
And you're wrong. Yeah, you could try to water down the claim you're making here to make it seem like you're not a bad person. But what I'm saying is that claim in of itself is incorrect. Right? I'm saying that you don't have any justification for this claim. God isn't real. You can't defend your own interpretations of scripture, and I could just dunk on you by mentioning that the Bible says slavery is okay in the same book of the Bible that you cited as saying that being a lesbian is wrong, which leads us to the conclusion that it's just as likely that there's nothing wrong with owning and beating another human as it is wrong to engage in same-gendered intercourse. And that alone is absurd as all hell.
Can I ask you a quick question?
You could go for it.
What makes, like, do you think it's wrong to kill a person?
Don't say unalive. And I do.
Okay, sorry. Do you think, I don't know, like, all the TikTok standards. Do you think it's wrong to unalive a person?
The obvious answer to your question is yes.
Okay, why?
Why? Because it violates their right to life.
Okay, do you think it is wrong then to put someone in prison?
Do I think it's wrong to put someone in prison? No.
Why?
Why? Because they committed a crime, overruling their right to liberty and freedom.
Okay, so aren't you limiting their life?
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it.
But limiting their life when you murder a person that's wrong. Okay.
It is wrong because when you end someone's life by unaliving them, you're doing so unjustifiably. But when we take a felon and we put them in prison and limit their life, we're doing so justifiably. And it's like, what's the fucking point here? Because we understand, do you think that unaliving people is wrong, Jack? Do you think that unaliving someone is wrong, Jack?
Correct.
So when God commands the unaliving of all the Amalekite infants in 1 Samuel 15:3 of the Bible, he's doing something wrong?
Well, God is morally right and just.
So if God told you to grape an infant, would you do it?
God has not told me to do that.
Yeah, I didn't say when God told you to do it, did you do it? I asked if God told you to do it, would you do it?
You can't, you can't just ask that. Like,
yeah, hell yeah, I can. You said that God was perfectly
how would I know
righteous and just when he commanded Saul and his people to slaughter all of the Amalekite infants in Samuel. So I'm just asking you, if you were one of those men, would you have done it?
Okay, so I'm asking you a question and you pivoted from the question.
I actually didn't pivot at all. You asked me where my morals came from. What do you want me to say? My preferences? I could uphold objective morality as an atheist. I just don't because it's irrational. But none of this answers my qualms with using Christianity as a basis for morality. You're trying, though. You're not doing too bad. Just kidding. You are.
What gives you your morality?
What gives me my morality? I mean,
why do you think things are right or wrong?
Because I uphold certain like normative positions insofar as like ethical frameworks. Like, what do you want me to say here, and how is
Okay,
this
but
relevant to our
what
conversation?
gives, hold on, I'm not trying to argue, like, I'm not trying to raise our voices or anything. What gave you the reason, like, what made you think that was right or wrong?
Probably my preferences.
What gave you those preferences?
I don't know. I find preferences to be pretty irreducible.
So you think just all of a sudden you were born and you think you thought of right and wrong on every level?
I feel like I could explain like theories of where these preferences come from, such as socialization, life experiences, academics, education, being a rational individual, etc. But I don't see how any of this is relevant here. Agbor, I
Because
appreciate you for the dollar on Venmo. Also, not to mention like the evolution aspect of it. Just some like negative rights theory of like ethics born out of like born out of strategy in nature because it's evolutionarily advantageous. But none of this is relevant at all insofar as why you think being a lesbian is wrong. You
because
cited
it's
Christianity,
where our
and I'm asking
morals
you
come
questions
from.
from your and yeah, and you said that your morals come from God and He's perfectly righteous and just. So if He commanded you to grape an infant, would you do it?
Again, you're straw manning the
This
argument.
isn't
You're
a straw
saying,
man in the
okay,
slightest.
why are
I
you giving
asked
me a
you about I
hypothetical?
asked you about the genocide in 1
How does
Samuel
this
15:3.
hypothetical, how does this,
I asked you about the genocide in 1 Samuel 15:3 of the Bible, where God tells Saul and his people to unalive man, woman, infant, child, suckling, ox, and sheep. Okay? And you said that this wasn't wrong because God is perfectly just. So if it is the case, well, whatever God says goes, and He's perfectly good and just in all degrees regards whatsoever. If He told you to grape and unalive an infant, would you do it because He's perfectly good, just, and perfect, and what the fuck ever else?
I'm not a prophet. He has not spoken to me. I'm not there, and I don't have to face that
So
moral
you've prayed to
dilemma.
God, and He's
So I
never
don't,
like prayed, and He's never responded to your prayers.
I'm not a prophet. He hasn't commanded me to do things.
Okay, so once again, I asked you the question: if He did this, would you unalive the infant? Not when He did this, did you unalive the
Why are
infant?
you,
I
how
understand,
does giving me a hypothetical help your argument?
Jack. I'm explaining this to you. So I asked you if God commanded you to unalive an infant, would you do it? And then your response to this was, "I'm not a prophet. God hasn't spoken to me." But you understand that that is not applicable, or that's not a viable answer to my question. That would be a viable answer to my question if I asked you, well, when God commanded you to unalive an infant, did you do it? Okay, well, then you could have been like, well, I'm not a prophet. He's never commanded me to do that. He doesn't talk to me. But what I'm specifically asking you here is, if God did this, would you unalive that infant?
Probably not.
Okay, so this is the introduction of an evidentiary-based standard for what is good and bad outside of the Christian Bible, which could be used within which could be used within a problem of evil.
All
Okay,
right, and there was
like,
a
do you think it's
prophet that,
bad? Do you think it's bad that like 3 million children starve to death per year?
of course.
Okay, so God causes 3 million children to starve to death per year
How does
because He
God
could
cause
have
this?
created humanity to function in such a way where
Then
we
he
didn't
wouldn't give you
require.
free
Jack,
will.
stop fucking yapping while I'm okay. Now I gotta restart. See what happens, Jack, when you interrupt me while I'm giving you my argument, like back and back and back. Well, all of a sudden you throw me off track. We have 1.7 thousand people watching right now. We have to be able to let each other finish so we can provide a good, productive dialogue to everyone answering, to everyone watching. So now I gotta mute you. Back to what I was saying. So you said it's bad that 3 million children starve to death a year. And here's what I'm saying: God causes those 3 million children to starve to death per year because God could have designed our biological systems to function in such a way where if we didn't eat, we didn't die. But He didn't do that. And you also describe Him as being all knowing. So when He designed humans to require sustenance to sustain their life, He knew that this would ultimately result in 3 million children dying a year, right? And because God could have made it differently, but He didn't, God has partial responsibility for this outcome, meaning that He did something immoral. And your response of free will is completely mute here, because if God changed or designed our biological systems to function in a different manner where we didn't die if we didn't eat, this wouldn't infringe upon our free will at all.
It, in fact, would, because you would have the choice of not eating or eating.
We would still have the choice of eating or not eating if we didn't die when we eat. In fact, this would probably like unrestrict our free will anymore. Because as it stands, we're kind of forced into eating if we want to live. but we'd have a more free choice insofar as deciding if we want to eat or not eat if we didn't die. So there's no implications on restricted free will here.
Okay, so I'm sorry for yapping earlier and interrupting you. That was totally my bad. Sorry about that. So you're saying that we humans should not die when they don't eat, correct? Because that would give us more free will.
No, what I'm saying is it's bad that 3 million children starve to death a year, and God could have prevented it by designing our bodies to function in such a manner where if we didn't eat, we didn't die. And because he didn't do that, he's partially responsible for those 3 million child deaths a year.
Okay, so I mean, you could say that, but that's the same argument as the creator of the airplane indirectly is a creator of the had a place in the nuclear bomb being dropped in Japan.
How so?
Because if I'm forgetting their names, oh my gosh. If the Wright brothers didn't create the airplane, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then the airplane would not have functioned.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wouldn't have had the evolutionary timeline of engineering in the aeronautics industry to be able to drop the bomb on Japan.
Yeah, you're right. But the only difference here is we wouldn't fault the creator of the airplane and we would fault God because the creator of the airplane wasn't all knowing. So he didn't know that his creation would be used to unalive hundreds of thousands of people. And the creator of the airplane wasn't all powerful. So he couldn't stop his creation from being used to unalive hundreds of thousands of people with a blink of the eye. Okay? And
So
there's
if-
good examples that we could give here to prove my point. Let's imagine a hypothetical where we have a parent, and this parent has 5 children locked in a room. And this parent needs to figure out how to feed them for the next year. The first way this parent has to feed the children is to give them all the food they'll need to survive for the next year up front. Okay? But the parent knows that the oldest, strongest child in there will hoard all of the food for themselves, resulting in the deaths of the other 4 children. So that's the first way that the parent could feed the kids, in which the parent knows it will result in the death of 4 children.
But then that's God's fault because God made
The second way that the parent could feed the children is by rationing out the food to each child every day. And if the parent feeds the kids this way, the parent knows that none of the children will die. So my question is, if the parent decided to feed the kids through the method that resulted in the deaths of 4 of them, instead through the method that would keep them all alive, did the parent do anything wrong?
Well, according to your argument, it would be God's fault because God made the children have to eat.
We're talking about a parent and their children here. It's hypothetical. Well, we could relay this back to God, but we're just speaking in the confines of this analogy here. So did you follow the analogy?
Yes.
Would the parent be doing anything wrong if they decided to feed the children through the means that resulted in the deaths of 4 of them, in comparison through the means that didn't result in the deaths of any of them?
Obviously, because they chose the wrong path.
And that's exactly what God did on Earth. God knew that if he designed us with this biological function insofar as where if we don't eat, we don't die, that this would result in over 3 million child deaths per year in 2024. And he could have made it so that where if we didn't eat, we didn't die, resulting in no child deaths, but he took the wrong path just like the parent did. So if the parent was doing something wrong in the hypothetical scenario, God is apparently doing something wrong in real life.
Okay. So now I have a question.
So you just accepted the conclusion of my problem of evil. You said, okay, God did something wrong. Well, this shows that Christianity is false because according to your own doctrine, God can't do anything that's wrong. You just contradicted it.
God's creation, okay, if he limited us to the point where we did not have to eat to live, correct?
Yeah.
He would be restricting free will because then we wouldn't die. And hold on. Now,
Are your grandparents dead?
Yeah, well, some of them.
Did they die from starvation?
No.
So we would still die.
Okay, there's other means of death. Just because if you make everyone live till old age, that's restricting freedom.
Do you know anyone that's died of young age?
What? How does that make sense?
Do you know anyone that's died at a young age?
Yes.
Did they die of starvation?
No, I don't know anyone personally that died of starvation. No.
So you could still die at a young age without being able to starve to death.
So God gave us, again, God gives us the choice. We could go out and stop these 3 million.
Is it the
children
kid's
from
choice to
starving.
starve to death?
No, it is not the kid's choice. It's another person's restricting their freedom.
Hey, just like it was the oldest child in that hypothetical scenario I gave you to hoard all the food and restrict all the freedom of the other 4 children to eat, we would still say that the parent is partially responsible for allowing the oldest child to do that.
If God restricts free will,
Dude, you can't just say the word free will and just come to this magical conclusion that that's the solve all issue here. If God just designed us differently, made our biological functions in a different way, our free will wouldn't have been restricted.
yes, it would have.
It wouldn't have. We
How
still
wouldn't it
have
have?
free choice. What choice would it restrict?
This is like the...
You can't name the choice it would restrict, so you can't just say free will.
Just create us invincible, like to be immortal?
Jack, no, answer my question here. Name the choice that God designing our biological systems in such a way where if we didn't eat, we didn't die, would restrict.
Okay, 1, energy consumption in cells. I mean, there's the whole biological field of that. But number 2...
So what's the choice? Energy consumption in cells is not a choice. I want you to name the choice.
Okay, so death and also pleasure, because some people get pleasure through eating.
Okay, no. If he designed our biological systems where we didn't rely on food to survive, we could still eat for pleasure. And then you're saying the choice of death through starvation. Well, we right now can't choose to die through drinking a glass of water. Does that mean that God restrict? I said a glass of water.
Oh, okay,
Does that mean that God restricted our free will in such a way where we can't choose to die by drinking a glass of water?
So, no.
Hey, can you choose to jump to the moon from the ground with your feet?
No, but we can.
Does that mean that God? Does that mean that God restricted your free will by being able to jump to the moon, outside with your feet?
No, because I could.
No, so if we couldn't choose to not eat and die, God wouldn't have restricted our free will in the same way that we can't choose to jump to the moon off the ground with our feet, or in the same way we can't choose to drink a glass of water and die. See, the free will argument just fails here.
Well, there's consequences to actions that God made. Okay.
Right. And you're actually right about this. And the fact that God made a consequence of dying if you don't eat shows that he's partially responsible for that, meaning he did something wrong. Thank you for admitting that God made the consequences. That right there proves my argument even more.
The consequence is death. Death isn't bad necessarily.
So then it's not bad that the 3 million children starve to death per year, necessarily. Okay. Right, Jack?
Again, you're straw manning my argument.
That's not a straw man. Yes. That ain't a straw man.
Okay, see how you're getting inflated? Like, it clearly shows that you're mad, so let's take it down a notch.
I'm not mad. I'm like, really fucking doing good right now. Wait, no, yeah, I'll let you speak, but I want to talk about that shitty little comment you just made. That's not me getting mad. That's me like, so this philosopher named Plato, when he used to beat people in debates, he was also a professional wrestler, so he'd get up and he'd start flexing his muscles. See, I'm just doing a little Plato thing. When I'm like, right, Jack, and I start raising my voice, that means that I just like gagged you. Like, it's hype. Man, it's not anger.
Okay. So I have a question. Oh God, I forgot my question because you were yapping. Okay, so earlier this is the main reason I put my ticket in, was because you said earlier, like, that why is God real? Like, why? The other guy tried answering it.
Jack.
Sorry.
You literally just accused me of pivoting, and now you're actually changing the entire subject of the conversation.
Yeah, I forgot my question.
Did you forget my statement?
Oh, sorry. What was your statement?
That God is partially responsible and does something wrong because he made our biological systems function in such a manner where 3 million children starve to death per year.
Okay. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Okay. So in the Catholic faith, okay, We believe that when you die, it is not as bad as a thing because we can go to heaven, and heaven is where we want to be. That's the entire meaning of life, is to get into heaven. To some people, of course, I'm not saying that's for all people. And that's why we view death as kind of almost like not a beautiful, because it's still sad because you're still losing a person, but you can know that they might go to a better place.
So it's a beautiful thing that 3 million children starve to death per year.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
It is. It is literally what you're saying.
It's a sad thing that their life is ending short. They don't have a shot at life. Correct. But that doesn't mean that God, by making them have to eat, is killing them. That's a dumb. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to insult you, but I am going to insult the argument. I think that's a really bad argument because God made a system that
Jack, do you understand that my argument isn't that God is unaliving them? He's responsible for their deaths. You can't just take
a biological system where you have to eat. Well, he made a biological system where you can't drink too much water or you will die. Okay? Because of mitosis going too much into red blood cells, right? So we drink too much water, we die. That doesn't mean that God is partially responsible. Like, yes, of course, God has partial responsibility in every single death. That doesn't mean God is a bad person. God created us, okay? But that doesn't mean that because everyone dies, that he's a bad person.
So, I mean, we've kind of already detailed it to you how this is the case. We could look at this very simply. In the hypothetical that I gave you, you said that the parent would be doing something wrong if they chose to feed their kids in a manner that led to the deaths of 4 of them, assuming that they had prior knowledge of those deaths, in comparison to choosing to feed the kids through a manner in which didn't lead to the deaths of any of them. Do you want me to kind of go through that hypothetical again so we could yield that same answer?
The person is a human being. They're supposed to choose the morally good option. Okay.
So you'd say that the human being would be doing something wrong in this scenario by causing the deaths of those 4 children, but God isn't doing anything wrong in the scenario of causing the deaths of 3 million a year. But see, this is just special plein. You're saying it wasn't wrong when God did it because he's God. I mean, we could just inflate this to like an insane degree. Would it be not wrong for God to eradicate all evil from the earth because he's God?
If that's his choice, no, but he would be taking away free will, so he wouldn't do that.
Wait, actually, I think that we could have free will without the ability to do bad things. Does God have the ability to do bad things?
How do you have free will?
Yeah, does God have the ability to do bad things?
No.
Does God have free will?
I actually can't answer. I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, if God doesn't have free will, does that mean that he was forced to create you?
Oh, hello? Sorry, I muted. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
If God doesn't have free will, does that mean that he was forced to create you?
Again, I can't answer. I don't know if God has free will. You got me there.
So yeah, you're saying that it's possible that God was forced to create us.
I'm not okay.
Then also, wait, is God perfect?
God is perfect, yes.
So if it was true that God didn't have free will, it would be perfect to not have free will?
Okay, hold on. Let me look this up so you just can't keep repeating the same thing because I can't answer that question. Can you look it up?
No, man. You didn't even need to answer it. I gave you the conclusion of both of the potential answers.
Does God have free will?
If God had free will, then you could have free will without having the ability to do bad things, okay? If God didn't have free will, then God would have been forced to create us, and it would have been perfect to not have free will, as you describe God as perfect.
Okay, so God does have free will. I was just informed. Going off the comments, so God does have free will.
So God has free will, yet God doesn't have the ability to do bad things. So earlier when you asked me, how could you have free will without having the ability to do bad things? Well, that's how.
God is a perfect being. All his works are perfect. Could you say he has the ability to do bad things? Sure, but
no, you can't.
He doesn't. He's perfect in the fact that he chooses not to do bad things. That's why Jesus doesn't have he didn't sin. Jesus is the only being that didn't sin. That makes Jesus perfect.
If God had the ability to do bad things, then goodness wouldn't be a necessary attribute of his character.
What do you mean?
If God could choose to do bad things, that means there's a possible world where he does choose to do bad things, meaning that he's not necessarily good.
There's a possibility, but we don't. We
Exactly. But possibility is antithetical to necessity. So if it is the case that God could possibly do bad things, then it is also true that he's not necessarily good.
So if I choose, okay, I have the possibility to do bad things, right?
Yeah, that's why you're not necessarily good.
Okay, but I say I don't do a single bad thing, then I am in my future, in my entire life right now, and in my future and before, I never did a bad thing that would make me necessarily good in life. That's why
No,
Jesus.
that's not what necessity is. Necessity is something that is always true in all scenarios, including all possible worlds. If you have the potentiality to do bad things, this means that you do a bad thing in a possible world, which means you're not necessarily good. I mean, maybe like I don't like I'm not mad at you for not understanding this because this is starting to get into like theology and like apologetics, but that's just how it works.
But okay, so there is that aspect, and we in the church, in the Orthodox Church and Catholic Church, we call this the mystery of faith, and there's things we physically can't wrap our heads around. Correct?
Yeah. So when you're presented with an irrationality in your God, when you're presented with a logical issue in your God, when I absolutely dunk on the Christian worldview and show you how it's such a bad source or standard to use to persecute, disenfranchise, and marginalize a third of our human population,
What am I persecuting
aka
anyone?
the LGBTQ plus community,
Never
well, then you
persecuted
just
anyone.
say, Dean, I actually can't address and or respond to the logical issues that you've pointed out with my belief. I'm just going to have blind faith that you're wrong because I want to continue to be a dickhead. Come on, bro.
Okay.
What if I just
Again-
said I have blind faith you're wrong? Yeah, how far would that get me?
Okay, you have blind faith. I'm wrong.
And does that further us anywhere, intellectually speaking?
I mean, it depends.
No, it doesn't.
so-
Good to know that Christianity can't further anyone intellectually speaking. It's a plague on society.
So then why
It
can you
forces
get-
people to be irrational because they want to have hope that they don't die when they die. And the conclusion of this, when we're talking about why is being a lesbian wrong, is that you use it to justify, or seemingly justify, your prejudices.
Okay, I have no. Okay. So you claimed I persecuted gay people, which just makes no
I've told you
sense.
not to say that word on live. It's GAY.
Sorry.
The belief is
Persecuted
thank you for the
lesbian
handouts.
people.
Of course, lesbian people are the victim of very consistent persecution today and historically speaking because of the weaponization of your religion.
But that doesn't represent the entire. A person doing an action doesn't represent the religion.
It definitely represents you because you're using your religion to justify why it's wrong to be a lesbian in front of 2,000 people right now.
Why does my opinion have a choice on how someone acts? What if I said, "Hey, I don't like your haircut. Would you cut your hair?"
No.
Exactly.
So now you've conceded the debate. You've recognized, Evan, I appreciate you for the $6 and the 66 cents on Venmo. Let's get some W. Evans in that chat. Thank you so much for the love. So you've conceded the debate. You recognize that you don't have a response. So now you're just saying, well, wah, I can have my opinion. Wah, okay. Yeah, keep fucking coping, dude. Holy crap. Yeah, this is the same thing that white supremacists say.
What?
We live in a free nation with free speech. I have the ability to have my opinion, and you can't tell me otherwise. Doesn't matter. You're a piece of shit.
Okay, so what gives you the moral hierarchical
Logic,
call me that?
reason, science, empathy, intellect.
What
Whoa.
science?
What science?
Yeah, what science? You just named science, so give me the science.
Oh, well,
please.
like particularly when we're talking about Christianity insofar as why it's wrong to be a lesbian, the science that shows that being lesbian isn't a choice and is caused by natural biological predispositions that develop in utero. So if it were to be the case that we had a Christian God that exists and creates us all that thought being a lesbian is wrong, well, there'd be a contradiction in the sense that he literally biologically designed these people to be lesbians. So, well, yeah, what is this?
Okay, so another argument is just because you're lesbian doesn't mean you're going to hell. It doesn't. That's
So,
that's a-
okay. So you're pivoting. Hey, but I appreciate you for coming up, Jack. I'm going to go to move on to
well,
our next
no.
guest.
What's your argument against that? If you're lesbian, you're not going to hell. So why, like, what is Christianity doing to them besides the people who I believe, if you're persecuting lesbians, if you're being rude to our lesbians,
What is Christianity doing to the LGBTQ plus community? Well,
no,
it's currently
not Christians, the religion, the physical religion. Okay, I'm saying,
appreciate you for the cap.
what does the physical religion do to them? Not the people who are bad in the religion, persecuting them. That's an awful thing. No one should die because of someone's belief. Why does the physical religion harm them?
Well, in Leviticus, it literally says you should stone them to death. Is that harm?
Can you pull up that verse unless you want me to look through the Bible?
Leviticus 18:22 and Leviticus 20:13. What are we doing, Jack?
What do you mean?
What are we doing? According to an argument that you gave me when you first came on the live, God destroyed cities and unleashed his pure fucking vindictive his pure vindictive fucking will on a bunch of like same-gendered attracted people in Sodom and Gomorrah. Not to mention that Christianity is the reason that same-gendered people didn't have the right to marriage until like the early 2000s due to the fact that the Bible's interpreted as saying that men should only marry women, and it is a communion between a male and a female. I'm demonstrating the harm so easily, dude. This is terrible for you.
Again,
and then what is your argument here? You're like, oh, Dean, you've completely shit on me. You've demonstrated how I have no reason to believe that being a lesbian is wrong, but I don't think it harms anyone. So I'm just going to continue thinking this because I'm too emotional to overcome my prejudice. Is that what you're saying, Jack?
Thank you for putting words in my mouth. But let's move on from that and let's be more mature. So
let's be more mature. Stop. If you want to be a more mature person, then you should stop holding your emotions and your prejudice on a higher pedestal than you hold facts, reason, and logic.
That makes no sense.
It makes no sense because you don't hold facts, reason, and logic on a higher pedestal. To be able to make sense of anything, you have to value logic, fact, and reason more so than your emotions and your prejudice.
It's not my emotions, it's my faith.
If you valued logic, well, then why did you say that while you can't logically explain my issues with the Christian religion, you're just going to baselessly believe that I'm wrong and call it blind faith?
I never said you had blind faith.
No, you said you have blind faith that I'm wrong.
It's not blind faith, it's faith based on reason.
Faith based on no reason whatsoever, and I've demonstrated that to you through like the last 40 minutes of discussion.
So why would people... Okay, so let me explain my reason for the faith then. So Jesus had 8 disciples, or I'm sorry, 12.
12. You're already wrong. Go ahead.
Sorry. 12. They died brutal deaths. Okay.
Terrible deaths. Well, 11 of them did. The other one didn't.
Yep. Some of them were crucified. One was crucified upside down. Okay. My logic is that people wouldn't go around, in my head, people wouldn't go around making up the argument that this man is God and that this man is truly God and then die for it. Would you go out and die for something that's not true?
No, I wouldn't. So this seems to tell us that Christianity is correct because they all died martyrs. So obviously Jesus Christ was the Son of God. Okay, does this mean that Islam is also correct because the family members of Prophet Muhammad died martyrs?
Okay. Hold on.
Crazy. You understand that this is true of like so many religions.
Yeah, well, there's...
People do that shit. People still do that shit. There was this guy in the 1970s that claimed to be the second coming of Jesus Christ. He was able to convince like 50, 60 people that he was like, that this was true. And some of them died for that shit, dude. Or what about drinking the Kool-Aid? Do we want to talk about some of those other cults? Kylie, thank you for the $6 and the 66 cents on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love. Let's get a W Kylie as well as a W666 in that chat. Not to mention that I think it's quite plausible that they literally did think that Jesus Christ was the Son of God. They were fooled.
Okay, so I'm not saying that was the only argument. Again, there's miracles in the church, but like you said before, you can't use that argument because, again, scientifically and in the Catholic faith, we don't use that argument as an argument for God. There's personal testimonies to Jesus being the Son of God and God.
No, there isn't.
The Bible is testimonies. That's why it's called the New Testament.
Yeah, the Gospels were written 70 years after he died. How are those personal?
They were assembled 70 years after he died by the church fathers.
So how are they personal?
Because they were personally wrote by the people, then assembled.
Personally wrote by the people that personally weren't alive when Jesus was. Yeah, super personal testimony, man.
So they claim to see Jesus, but they didn't. So you're calling them all liars?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so then there's no point in arguing with you because I have faith in it and you don't, and then that's
If I had faith that you're a murderer, should I send? Would you be able? Should I send you to jail?
you can prosecute me for it.
No, if I didn't have any evidence, I just had faith that you're a murderer. Should you go to jail?
You would have to prosecute me for it.
So I need evidence and facts to justify my faith, but you don't need evidence and facts
If
to
you had
justify
12
yours.
personal testimonies of me being a murderer, I'm sure I would be convicted. 12 personal testimonies, and this has happened before when people were wrongly convicted. So
Holy,
yes.
yo, hey guys, who else saw Jack unalive someone? For everyone watching the live, who else saw Jack unalive someone, guys?
Well,
Who
no,
else saw that shit, guys? Effie, Enoda, Dwight, Josh, Shaw, The Fellowship, Marley, Astrid, Adam, Deanne, Addie, Oh my God, we're up to 18 personal testimonies now. Wait, keep
What's
them
your
going. Let's
point?
just see a me in the chat. Oh my God, Sophia. Oh my, we're up to like 50 now. Oh my gosh, is this enough personal testimony to send you to jail, Jack?
No, because you're on TikTok live saying this.
Oh my God, and what about the 750 personal testimonies of Prophet Muhammad and his life as a sinless prophet of God? Oh shit, that's crazy.
That's why
What
people
about
have faith in Islam. You're
Wait,
correct. That's why
is
people
Islam
have faith
false?
in Islam. In my faith,
Islam false?
is false.
Yeah, Islam is false, even though they have 750 eyewitnesses of Prophet Muhammad and his life. You don't give a damn about these supposed eyewitness accounts. Not to mention that we don't have any eyewitness accounts of Jesus
Why
in his
are
life
you raising
because
your
the
voice?
Gospels were assembled 70 years after he died. Why are you tone policing me instead of responding to my argument? Why can't you stay on track and every time I get you backed into a corner, you got to derail and throw out some pointless ad hom about how I'm raising my voice?
Because it's just annoying.
You know what's truly annoying? You saying that being a lesbian is wrong. You know what's truly annoying? You using your own emotions and blind faith to justify why a God that doesn't exist does, then using that to persecute the LGBTQ plus community. We want to talk about annoyances, bro. All the fingers are rationally pointing at you. I see pain. I appreciate you for the hands up. Guys, by the way, if you want to support me, my Venmo, my PayPal, or my bio, I get 100% of the proceeds over there, and I greatly appreciate it. I'll give you a shout out too. I get a notification at the top of my screen. Go ahead.
All right. Well, you put up a very good argument. I respect you. I think you had a very good argument. You've definitely made me consider things. So yeah.
Nice, Jack. I hope that you maybe stick around and continue to consider. You'll come out a better man. I appreciate you for coming up. What the hell? No way, we just got a live restriction. Bro, what the fuck? Ah! All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and restart our stream. I'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. We got a restriction on the live. Guys, for the 2.2 thousand people in here, we are going to continue these debates. All right, we are not ending for the day. We're just restarting because our live got like an age restriction. Come back. Come back, every single one of you. If all of y'all come back, all 33 of you in the guest request especially come back, we'll be able to just resume the lives so fucking easy. So come back, please. All right. Click on my profile, count to 10, refresh, and I'll be right back on live. Everyone come back. Please, please, please. All right, welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. What is up, Dork? What is up, Jackson and Sam and Sarah and Effie? Welcome back into the live. What is going on, Destiny and Elway and Allie? Welcome back in, guys. So I appreciate everyone for coming back into the live. I'm so insanely mad about that live restriction. Everything was going so well, but don't let that detract because we are gonna build. We're gonna build it back. Guys, let's really try to get this live sent out to that For You page. So all 600 of y'all, make sure that we're double tapping, sharing out this live, and spamming those comments. We're going to go ahead and pull up our first guest here, just hop right back to the debates in all honesty. Let's go ahead and see what Michelle has to say. And Sarah, thank you for the $16 on Venmo. Sarah says, beautiful arguments today. I appreciate you so much for that love, Sarah. Everyone, right now, let's get a W Sarah in that chat. What's up, Michael? You're going on pause here. Come back to the live if you want to have a conversation. But honestly, I feel like you're dipping, so I'm just going to kick you and move on. But let's get a massive W, Sarah. I really appreciate you for the $16. What's up, Riker? How old are you?
13.
My dear lordy lord, get the fuck out of my live, you fetus. Guys, if we're in those guest requests, we gotta be at least 18 years of age. Listen, that's just TikTok T West. Plus, I'm not gonna debate a literal fetus. All right, yeah, like, dude, you gotta be able to add 2 plus 2 before you can tell me why being a lesbian's wrong. What's up? How old are you?
I'm 18.
18, nice. What year were you born in? Don't worry about it. You're not 18, bro. Get out of here. Like, don't even try to lie. Like, I was a fetus at once too. I lied about my age on the internet too. I could seek you out. I know that you're lying. Don't even try it. What's up? How old are you?
Hello? Can you
Hey,
hear me?
what? Yeah, sure can, man. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 18, born 2006, obviously.
Awesome. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
I think it depends on your perspective because I think you can't.
But keep in mind, Dream, I'm asking for your perspective. Do you think it's wrong?
Oh, I myself don't, but I think you can't.
Okay, don't waste my time.
condemn it.
Goodbye. We're going to move on to our next guest. Let's go and see what our next guest has to say. We're going to go to get this random string of numbers and letters. What's up? How old are you?
Yo,
What's up?
Yo.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
Nice, man. What year were you born in?
2005, man.
Perfect. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong, man?
Of course I do.
All right, why so, man?
I mean, do you think being a pedophile is wrong?
Let's say P3D instead of that word just for
Sorry.
TikTok US here. Of course I do.
So, we were made to marry a woman as a man.
Okay, yeah. So
And,
how do you
yeah.
know that men were made to be with women and women were made to be with men? How do you know that?
Because that's how the best families are made.
Well,
with
that's not true.
the best. You can look at the stats and everything. The best kids. You need a father in your life. That's why in a lesbian relationship, one of the women's always assumes a male role. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
So you're telling me that the best family structure is a man and a woman, and that is the best way to
Yeah.
raise children. And you told me that I could actually look at statistics in order to find this to be true, right?
Yeah.
So
You
I
procreate
actually have a lot of statistics up here. So it actually looks like there's a study called Non-Traditional Families and Childhood Progress Through School, a comment on Rosenfield that was published in Demography by D.W. Allen and C. Pollock and J. Price that tells us that there's no difference in the parental outcomes of children raised by 2 moms, 2 dads, or a mom and a dad. In fact, there's a good 20 studies that I've listed here that would completely reject, deny, and refute the claim that the outcomes are any better in comparison of a same-gendered relationship to an opposite-gendered relationship. But you said that there was facts. You said that there was statistics. You said that there was studies that indicate otherwise. Can you give me one?
Yeah, I mean, I learned it all at my school. I would have to pull out my binder and stuff, but it's
So can you name the study?
bro, I can go look for it. I'll give it you in a little bit, but there's like it's you got to think about it, dude. Are we made to like why is there always in a lesbian relationship one person assumes the male role? You can always
I don't
see
think
that.
that's true. No,
Well, how can
absolutely
that-
not.
Then how come
I-
it happens a lot?
Wait, like the reason that we'd see like and like sometimes in lesbian relationships, like one of the partners like assume a more traditionally masculine role is because that's literally what society tells people to do. Like that's traditionalism in a nutshell. There is a nuclear family according to traditionalism. And what happens when we have generations? 1 second. When we have generations of of young people being brought up in a country that teaches them that, they're just going to be socialized, preconditioned to fit that role. But not to mention, gender roles are pure fucking shit. There's no justification for the claim that a man should lead a woman, that a man should go out and work the hard jobs, and a woman shouldn't stay at home and raise the kids, cook and clean. That's all bullshit. Okay? But
I mean,
you're saying, why is it the case that some of them do this? I don't know. It works for them. But that's not the role of a man. That's the role of that lesbian who's not a man. So I think it's incredibly misogynistic for you to turn around and be like, oh, well, this one woman in this relationship is doing shit that typically more men do under traditionalism. So she's doing the role of a man. No, it just shows that women are capable of doing what men do.
Women are there's some really I know some super powerful, super smart women, but all I'm saying is let me change my argument real quick, or not change my argument. Let me bring up another point. What is the difference between a P3 and like a lesbian? Because they're both perverted.
Are you for real? Are you for real? Is this real life? Yeah, pedophilia leads to rights violations, non-consensual intercourse, grape on minors. Shut up, buddy. It leads to rights violations, non-consensual intercourse, grape on minors, trauma, suffering, pain, a life of therapy. Tell me, stop talking. Tell me what rights violations, non-consensual intercourse, trauma, pain, and a life of therapy to consenting adult women engaging in intercourse leads to.
I'm talking about
Shit! You can't tell me. When we say that anything is wrong, well, stop talking. When we say that something is wrong, anything, we have reasons why we say it's wrong. And the reasons why we say pedophilia is wrong is because it's unconsensual intercourse and grape upon a minor. Do you want to detail to me how these same reasons are also apparent when we're speaking about two consenting women engaging in intercourse?
So if two consenting siblings old enough two consenting sisters that are both...
Are you telling me that you don't think incest is wrong?
No, I do think it's wrong. I think it's the same thing as being lesbian. It's all perversions of marriage.
Are lesbians related?
No.
So then it's not the same thing as incest. So how deep do we have to take this?
Dude, I'm saying they're two women. It's a perversion.
Are you just telling me that you have... Okay, so listen, you probably don't have any reasons why incest is wrong. You probably just think that because you're societally conditioned... One second, stop talking. You probably don't have any reasons why you think incest is wrong. You're probably just societally conditioned into thinking it's wrong. But I don't think there's anything wrong with this form of societal conditioning because it is true. There's logical reasons insofar as why we should consider it wrong. It introduces non-consenting power dynamics, like in the same way we'd say it's wrong for a professor to engage in intercourse with their student because of the power dynamic present between the two. We'd also say that this would be present between parents and their kids, or even in between the siblings themselves. Not to mention the higher disposition for genetic malformities of the offspring. But at the end of the day, we cannot compare incestuous relationships that are not a parent of a sexual orientation that isn't a choice that someone is born with, but is rather a parent of a bad decision that leads to bad outcomes, to women loving women. Can you demonstrate one reason why it's wrong for two women to engage in intercourse in the same way I've demonstrated many reasons why it's wrong to be a P3DO or it's wrong to engage in incestuous relationships?
It's hard for me when you reject everything because you have rejected every part of you say nothing is everything that society tells you, everything you're rejecting it all. But so you have no natural law, you don't believe in any of that stuff. According to you, it's all society telling us about, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong. You have to figure that it's all up to you. According to you, that's how it's all up to the personal person. So it's hard for me to convince you when you don't have a set of natural morals or natural law.
So when you say these natural morals, are you just describing your prejudice?
No, I'm describing that it's wrong to murder someone. It's wrong to steal. And that's all. And where does that come from? Does that just appear? How is that in why is that wrong? I
appreciate you for the sunglasses.
Why is any of that stuff wrong at all?
It's wrong to end people's lives because you violate their right to life. It's wrong to steal because you violate people's property rights.
And why is that wrong? Because according to you, because we can reject it, that's just something society puts on us, right?
So just your argument here is... So your argument here is... Let me... 1 second. So your argument here is it's wrong for two women to marry one another in the same way it's wrong to murder someone. But please listen to my response here. Okay, I appreciate you for that, a mustache. Try to listen closely, all right, bro? So whenever we say anything's wrong, we're always doing so because there's reason to say that it's wrong. When, we throw out the sentence, murdering people's wrong, we're saying that because of the good reason, that being that when we murder people, we violate their right to life and sanctity, okay? In the same way, if you're going to say the sentence, women marrying each other is wrong, you'd have to detail the good reason insofar as why that's true. But when we just kind of throw that out the window, stop talking. When we kind of throw this logical framework of processing what is good and bad out the window, well, then we're left with a really shitty evidentiary standard to determine morality, that being our feelings, prejudice, and emotions. The same evidentiary standard that white supremacists use to enslave black people are neo-Yazis use to unalive 12 million Jewish people.
The reason why, so you asked me to detail out the reason why being lesbian is like, because when you unalive someone, it's you're taking away their sanctity of life, right? That's a valid reason. When you steal something, you're taking someone else's property. When a woman marries another woman, she's going against her natural stuff. Just like when a brother marries his sister,
it's very natural to be a lesbian.
He's going it's not until 40, 50 years ago it wasn't. But now when people start pushing on it on everyone, and people start thinking, oh, okay, maybe I need to join this community because I feel
so the definition of natural is going to be what is found in nature outside of human influence. We observe same-gendered relations and sexual orientations in over 3,000 animal species in the wild.
And that's perverted. It's perverted. Animals kill each other. Animals eat each other. That's a perversion. Yes, perversions will always happen.
So what do you think that the definition of natural is?
I don't know. I'm talking about natural law. Like,
yeah.
There's a set.
What is natural law?
To me, I think it's given to by God, but you can have your own. I'm not here to debate about God. I'm not here
dumbass. You fucking. Oh my god, bro. It's so embarrassing for you. So yeah, you're essentially saying here that it's unnatural for humans because God says so, right?
No. Well, I'm not going to bring in the argument of God right now because...
So then define the word natural for me.
I mean, you give me your definition.
Yeah, what's found in nature or exists outside of human influence.
Yeah, that sounds right. But
so yeah, lesbian relations and intercourse is found in nature outside of human influence in the 3,000 animal species.
So is murder found in animals.
Actually, great fucking point. You're right. It is natural to murder in the wild and eat your own shit. That's why we shouldn't use what is natural and unnatural as a basis for morality. But that's what you're doing.
So then, according to you, there's no morality.
There's just no. We can't. What according to me, we can't determine morality based off upon what's natural and unnatural. It's called a naturalistic fallacy. But this is your problem. This isn't my problem because you're the one that's saying being lesbian is wrong because it's unnatural. Well, according to this same standard, being on your phone right now is wrong because the construction of the iPhone is unnatural. Driving a car is wrong because the construction of the combustion engine is unnatural. Wearing shoes is wrong because the construction of shoes is unnatural. But then, like, eating your children and your own shit isn't wrong because it is natural.
I'm not. That's not a question of morality. Driving a car is not morally wrong.
But it's unnatural. So therefore, just because you think something is unnatural doesn't necessitate that it's morally wrong. So even though you're on the losing side of the debate here, you think being lesbian is unnatural, you can't logically entail that it's therefore morally wrong.
So you're saying because it's just because so you do you say that it's unnatural or that it is natural to be lesbian?
It's very natural to be lesbian, but that is not a predicate for the claim that it's therefore not wrong. Right? I think it's not wrong, not because it's natural, but rather because there's not an articulatable reason why it would be wrong. That's the only standard I need to hold.
Well, I didn't hear it repeat.
I think being lesbian isn't wrong because there's no reason why it would be.
So you don't think that we were made to marry a woman or to marry a man?
No, I'm not a sheep of the Christian faith.
Our bodies weren't made like that?
I don't think that our bodies...
You can't procreate with a lesbian. Lesbians can't procreate.
Is it wrong for me to marry a woman that's infertile?
No.
Yet we can't procreate.
Yeah.
So this argument falls flat on its head. I mean, take a lesbian relationship. You're going to say that they're doing something wrong by being... Stop. You take a lesbian relationship, you're saying that they're doing something wrong because they can't procreate by engaging in intercourse with one another.
There's no possibility of procreation ever. The intercourse,
I know.
It's not intercourse. It's...
Yeah, do you mind if I finish here, though?
Yeah, finish, please.
Take a lesbian relationship. You're saying that it's wrong for them to be together because there's no potentiality that they could reproduce from engaging in intercourse with one another. Okay? But now replace one of those lesbian women with an infertile man, there's still no possibility that they'll be able to reproduce by engaging in intercourse with one another, but you no longer think it's wrong. What that shows us is you don't care about a relationship not leading to reproduction. You're just kind of using that as a special plea to justify why being a lesbian is wrong, but then you don't hold that same standard when we're talking about a heterosexual couple with one of the members being infertile.
No.
It does. I mean,
No.
do you want to? I'll go through it slower. I'll go through it. I'll go through it slower.
No. I understood what you said. That okay, because if there's no possibility of procreation between a man and woman, doesn't that make it wrong? That's what you're saying, right?
Like essentially.
But it's still it works. Like, you know what I mean? It works. It doesn't work between two women. That's not how our
What do you
bodies were
mean by
made.
that?
That's not how our bodies were made.
Are you
Do you have
saying
any-
that like the PP was made to go in the vajayjay?
Yes.
So is it wrong for me to put it in my girlfriend's mouth?
Yeah, it is.
So you don't like BJ's, bro?
Well, according to my religion, yeah, it's wrong.
Sorry. Hey, what were the lips made for?
It's sodomy.
What were
They
the
were
lips?
made
What,
to
what? So it's wrong for me to kiss my girlfriend because the lips weren't made for that.
Kissing is a show of affection, but your pee is only
Right?
made.
Do you think that intercourse is a show of affection?
Yes, but your pee is.
So
yeah,
if you're
but-
saying that your lips weren't made for kissing your girlfriend, but you still can because it's a show of affection, well, if the other
Yeah.
lips weren't made for wee ooh wee ooh wee ooh, you still can because it's a show of an affection.
What? Because if it's what do you mean?
Hey, bro, you're not tracking. That's so crazy, guys. Make sure that we're double tapping away on that phone screen. Let's try to get up to 100K likes. You are selling, bro. You are all over the place. Say, man, here's my position. So I think that our bodies actually weren't made with any prescriptive purpose of what they should do, but we can describe what they can do. So you're right. A PP and a vajayjay can reproduce in the same way my hands can play the piano. But it doesn't mean that they're supposed to reproduce, just like my hands aren't supposed to play the piano. But they do. I like the piano.
Oh, bro, everyone's fucking cooking me in the comments right now.
Yeah, damn straight they are.
All right, like that doesn't make me a worse human. Like I don't. Like,
Yeah, it
why-
does. I completely hold to the position that it does. There are
Like, you
good
think
humans
I'm
and there are
all
bad
good?
humans. You are one of the bad humans. Yes.
I'm a bad human, so you don't respect
Because you're blatantly prejudiced against like a third of the human population. Do you think that YT supremacists are bad humans?
Yeah.
So prejudice against black people completely unacceptable, but prejudice against GAY people, oh, totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and give me an argument for that one, buddy. Oh wait, you've been trying the entire time that you've been up here, and you failed every
because I'm
single
not-
fucking time.
Bro, there's a difference. The supremacists, I don't know how you're saying it. They go out and they hurt. I'm not gonna be mean to a GAY person. I'm not gonna.
Bro, guys, it's every time. All right, I'm just gonna start kicking them when they start coping. You're like, oh, it's fine for me to be prejudiced because I don't go out and like lynch
fine
them in
for
the
me to believe
streets.
something.
Like, get the fuck,
Time for
dude.
me to believe
Like
something.
that is simply straight copium. That is the homophobe realizing that they don't have a defensible position insofar as why they think it's wrong, but just trying to be like apologetic towards their fucking prejudice because they're not going out and unaliving people with it. Like, motherfucker, just get past the first base. Joel, you got your mic muted here.
Oh, I was waiting for you to finish talking.
No worries, man. How old are you?
27.
Perfect. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong, sir?
Absolutely.
Nice, man. Why so?
Well, I think you have to understand that there is objectively things that are right and objectively things that are wrong. Do you agree with that?
Well, personally speaking, I don't believe in objective morality, but it is the case that I used to. And regardless of your metaethical view, are things objectively good or bad or subjectively good or bad, what I'm looking for are your reasons why being lesbian is wrong, regardless of their objective reasons or subjective reasons.
Well, we have to have a starting premise that we agree on, or else we could just argue in circles forever.
Well, how about this? You're making the claim that being a lesbian is objectively wrong. I will assume objective morality for all intents and purposes and try to show you why your argument is flawed.
Okay. So I would not have said the procreation argument because of what you said, the the infertility argument would disband the argument for the procreation. But what I would say is that if you believe in objective morality, then you believe the standard from objective morality must come from somewhere. And the same standard that says schmurder is wrong is the same standard that says being a lesbian is also wrong.
Yeah, if you believe in objective morality, sure. In the same way, if we have a subjective standard of someone's preferences, they'll have preferences that say schmurder is wrong, and they'll have preferences that say being a lesbian is wrong. Like, you're right about these things, but I'm actually just won an argument. Why is being a lesbian wrong?
Because it goes against the standard for right and wrong.
And what's your standard?
Well, I would use the Bible as the standard.
Wait, are you the white privileged dude?
Yeah, I created that back in 2020.
Oh, crazy. So you're a Christian?
I am, yes.
Okay. So what verse in the Christian Bible tells us that being a lesbian is wrong?
It says it is assumed because it says you shall not lie with a man as you do.
Yeah. Like, which verse is that?
Let me pull it up for you.
Oh God, guys, he's been on my For You page multiple times. I'm in a beautiful position right now. This is real. This is fun. This is fun, ladies. We're gonna take this one slow. We're gonna, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take this one slow. See, I didn't just start naming off Leviticus 18:22, Leviticus 20:13, Genesis 1:19, Romans 24 through 30. I asked him for the verse, and I'm gonna take it slow.
Wait, I'm confused. Why
So
that?
which verse in the Bible?
Response?
Yeah, I know. But what verse in the Bible tells us that being a lesbian is wrong? We'll get there, right? So you're saying that you're a Christian.
There's over 30 verses that say that. Well, there's over 30 verses that condemn homosexuality. They don't.
Okay, so just try to say lesbian here. Like TikTok TOS on lives, you have to use very specific language. So whenever you're referring to the community, just say lesbian. This could be in reference to women or men, but you just have to use that word so you don't get your account
Really?
banned. Yes, it sucks.
They allow that word, but not.
Yes, it is. It's crazy.
Oh,
Agbar, I appreciate you for the $5 on Venmo. So yeah, name a single verse in the Christian Bible that tells us being a lesbian is wrong.
Well, I mean, I would have said 18:22 Leviticus, but it doesn't say specifically. Yeah, it doesn't specifically say lesbian.
Well, I mean, it says man on man, bad. Okay, that's all you need. We could infer from that. All right, awesome. So we could, like, for all intents and purposes, Leviticus 18:22 says it's wrong. I got a question for you though. So you think that the book of Leviticus in the Christian Bible is accurate in depicting what is morally right and wrong, correct, Joel?
Yes.
So when Leviticus 25 verses 44 through 46 say that nationalistic chattel slavery is permissible in the sense of one human owning another human as property for the entirety of their lives, going so far as to say that when the master dies that they're passed down as property to their child, you think that's also an accurate description of what is morally right and wrong?
Right. So saying something that was occurring versus saying something that the Bible encourages are two different things.
So the Bible encouraged individuals to own slaves in the sense that God described it as morally permissible. It reads off as follows.
Where is it described as morally permissible?
Leviticus 25, verse 44 through 46. God says that you are to buy your male and your female slaves from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also bequeath them as as inherited property of your children and make them slaves for life. So what this shows us is that if you're going to use this book of the Bible as a standard for morality, well, then it's just as likely the case that slavery is acceptable as it is that being lesbian is wrong. How do you feel about that?
But slavery is acceptable.
I mean, honestly, I probably should have ran another argument on you, considering you have white privilege on the front of your truck.
I think that's very important. So let me ask you this. And I will explain to you why you also agree that slavery is permissible under certain circumstances.
So let's redefine slavery. How about we skip past that?
Unpaid labor.
Forced unpaid labor. So I'm defining slavery as one human owning another human as property for life and beating them as long as they recover in 3 days. Do you think that this form of chattel slavery is right or wrong?
That I would agree with that. Yeah, that would be right.
Joel, bro, you can't be serious, right?
No, I'll explain to you why. Would you like me to explain it to you?
Yeah, I'll give you the mic, bro.
Okay, if someone is a chief income earner for their family, and they are unalived by someone who has taken it upon themselves to consume a controlled substance in a great amount to the point where they are no longer coherent, and then they unalive that person, most likely with an automobile.
Do you not think that it would be appropriate that that person spends time in a facility, aka a prison, and pays money, aka restitution, to that individual so that that family is not suffering from the lack of income from that income earner that they took away?
Oh, I think that's absolutely justified.
That's
But here's the difference, though, and I hope that you will follow me as I explain this. So we take something like ending a human's life, for instance. When it is wrong, we say it is murder. It's completely unjustified.
Most of
But
the time.
there's also scenarios where we can unalive someone and it is not wrong, such as self-defense, or such as you would describe your God ethnically cleansing the Amalekites, including the infants in 1 Samuel 15:3 of the Bible. So in some scenarios, it is okay to have individuals serve forced restitution, such as like an individual unaliving the main income earner of a family while they're on drugs.
But
But
wait,
what I'm saying here is that it is unequivocally unacceptable for you to go to a neighboring country, buy a person, own them as property until they die, and beat them as if they're your property. And that's exactly what the Bible describes as being okay. And if you're going to be sympathetic towards these ideals, well, then why not be sympathetic towards the ideals upheld during antebellum chattel slavery in the American South? Because as far as I'm concerned, the only differences are very minuscule and do not tell us that one is okay and one is not okay.
right, but slavery was wrong because it was exploitive. It was not wrong because it was racist.
So it was wrong for both reasons, actually, yeah.
It wasn't racist.
Joel, you got some crazy takes, man.
Well, I also spend a great deal of time researching any of my crazy takes before I just spout them off. And slaves were enslaved because they were available, not because they were racist.
So, like in 1850, when all the white people would see a black man riding a horse and be like, "Oh, get off that horse! You can't ride that. You're black." That wasn't racist.
Well, that didn't occur. But no,
Yeah,
and now we're talking about classism.
It absolutely did occur.
But
Man,
can I go back to your other point that you made? You said something
Jesus,
about
dude,
God
honestly,
ethnically cleansing.
Can I be honest, Joel? I really
Yeah.
thought that I would be able to like show the absurdity in using the book of Leviticus as an evidentiary standard for morality is like hypocritical in the sense that you would hopefully think that slavery is wrong, but I now realize that you don't. So maybe there's like better arguments that I could use to
Right, but
counter your
I know I
claims.
think I think slavery as a practice is not good, but I think that it is necessary in the instances of restitution, and I think it's necessary in the instances of, like, from a historical perspective, it was a part of what made this country the way that it is. And although I don't agree with how everything went, I think that the Civil War was the most horrendous atrocity on American soil. It was the most unaliving of American citizens ever at any period in time in America. But the issue that I had with you saying the ethnic cleansing of the Amalekites by my God in the Bible. First of all, if you believe, which I do, that God is the creator, God as the creator is not bound by any human law or any human moral, and God is free to do whatever he wishes with humans at his will, and I am not in a position to ever question anything that he does. It would be like if I was a famous painter and I painted a beautiful, priceless artifact. I could literally set it on fire, and I have that right because I created it. Now, if someone else destroys the priceless painting, that's a problem because it's not their creation.
Yeah,
If
so
we
God
are
is
the
the
creation
ultimate.
of God, then God has dominion over us, and we are not ever to question anything that he does.
Yeah. So just like real quick. So you don't have any question over what God does. You can't question it. He's the ultimate dictator of what's good and bad, right?
That is correct.
So if God came to you and told you to grape and unalive an infant, would you do it?
Well, I don't believe God would ever tell me to do that.
So if God just commanded you to unalive infants as he did in 1 Samuel 15:3 about the Amalekite people, would you do it?
If God commanded me like I heard his audible voice,
Yep.
I would do whatever God told me audibly.
So yeah, in this hypothetical scenario where he commands you to grape and unalive an infant, would you do it?
Right, but you're okay with unaliving infants without God telling you. So how is that an argument?
Because I value consciousness, and until 24 gestational weeks with the formation of the thymocortical connections, a fetus doesn't have consciousness. They don't fit my criteria for moral value. Don't try to pivot off of my argument,
Well,
making
if they
your
don't have
position seem
consciousness, they
absurd
don't have
to
moral value.
abortion. If they don't fit my criteria, that'd be in a conjunct of past and future. I did like, the pivot to abortion was cute.
So
I'll
as
give you
long
that,
as
but it
you
doesn't respond
define
to my
them as
question.
not as so as long as you define them as not human, then there's no moral grounds for you to have a responsibility to not unalive them.
So the absence of consciousness, or like the fetus meeting the criteria of my conjunct, doesn't define them as not being human. In fact, they're human from the moment of conception. Another red herring to my position. Can you intellectually engage with my contrary beliefs insofar as Christianity goes, or do you require pivots to other subjects where you also get destroyed?
I mean, you're not destroying me, but
Let's go ahead and talk about Christianity. Oh, of course, we'll go ahead and talk about Christianity. So there's a really big issue that I have with Christianity, and that's the existence of evil. If we had an all-good God, we wouldn't expect evil to exist. In fact, we might even say it's contradictory. Joel, I get a question for you. Why does evil exist?
Wait. So if you don't believe that an all-good God could allow evil to exist, then that would eliminate anyone's ability to make choices. So we would all be Tesla robots for God. Do you think that that would be better?
So you're saying that we wouldn't have free will if we didn't have the ability to do evil? I contest
Correct.
that. Does God have free will?
Actually, no.
So God was forced to create you?
No, God was not forced to
You
create.
just said if we didn't have free will, we'd be Tesla robots for God. So God doesn't have free will. Is he a Tesla robot for us?
No, because we do not dictate any of God's
Randy, I
decisions.
appreciate you for the $6 and the 66 cents on PayPal. And if God gave us free will without the ability to do bad things, he wouldn't be dictating our decisions. He'd just be ruling out possible choices that we can make in the same way he currently rules out. In the same way he right now rules out the possibility for us to make the choice to jump to the moon off the ground. Not to mention, do the people in heaven have free will?
There are no people in heaven.
When there's people in heaven, will they have free will?
No.
So is heaven described as a perfect place?
Yes.
So we could exist in this perfect place without free will, and that's a good thing?
We could exist in this perfect place without free will. Yes, but the earth is not perfect.
So if God made the earth perfect, eradicated sin, even if it was to be the case that this would infringe upon our free will, it would still be a perfect and good place. In fact, you would have to say it would be a better place.
So you're saying an earth without sin would be a better place?
Yeah, because an earth without sin is heaven. Is heaven better than earth?
But it was, well, objectively, yes, because God is present in heaven, but God is also present on the earth. So I guess that's kind of a moot point. But you said that if God had the ability to make everything good and didn't, then that makes him evil?
Yes.
So you believe God exists?
If God were to exist, then it would be the case he's not all good.
If God were to exist. Do you believe there's a possibility that he exists?
Not the Christian God, because the Holocaust happened. Is a world with the Holocaust better than a world without the Holocaust?
That was not the worst atrocity humanity's ever seen. Stalin unalived more people than Hitler.
Yeah, so Joel, I didn't say the Holocaust was the worst atrocity that's ever happened. Agree or disagree? Oh, well, I agree with that, but that's not the point. Is a world without the Holocaust better than a world with the Holocaust?
I wouldn't know.
Is a world without P3DOs graping small children better than a world without P3DOs graping small children?
Again, I would like to say yes, but again, I wouldn't know.
Why so?
Because what I've noticed is that there's always balance in the universe. So if we were to be able to eradicate one evil, another potential evil would come about to take its place because of the balance in the universe that would be so much worse than we could possibly imagine. For example, people used to go around and pew each other with arrows, which was not great, ideally, right? But there was a limited finite number of people that could be unalived from arrows. Now, we have nuclear weapons. We could literally eliminate life on this planet as we know it. So would you say objectively it's better that people aren't using arrows? Well, they probably are somewhere, but they are not using arrows to mass unalive each other now that we have nuclear weapons to do it.
No, I get your logic there. You're like, well, all the apparent evils that exist work in accordance with God's greater plan. In fact, they lead to the greater good. Is this what you're saying?
Right, but the existence of evil actually proves the existence of God.
Well, I don't think so for this reason.
Because it proves that there's objective good and evil.
Well, if you assume that if evil exists, then it's objective, therefore God exists, but I'd completely reject the criteria of that argument. Do you mind? Okay, yes, I do. And now you're trying to... What is evil? It's something in which we shouldn't do, normatively speaking, which
How
would
do
be
you know?
which would be derivative from my preferences as I uphold a relativist framework. But do
Okay,
you mind
but
if I?
what
Do you
if
mind?
my preferences are to do something that you believe is evil, but I think it's good?
Yeah, then you have different preferences than me, and I'd say in
So
the
then how
best
do
case
we know
scenario,
who's correct?
how do we know who's correct? That's under the assumption that there's an objective standard, which would make sense
There
given your
must be
Christianity.
objective standard.
Wait, give me the argument for that.
Okay. Objectively, it's bad for 3PDOs to brutally violate children.
I don't think that an objective standard for morality exists.
So you don't think that that's objectively bad and there's no circumstance in which that is good?
Wait, objective morality or objective standards don't dictate that it's universal. Like, for instance,
That's
it's
literally what objective means.
Okay, is it universally true that people are attracted to symmetric faces?
Yes.
Does that mean it's objectively true that symmetric faces are attractive?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, really? So objectivity, as defined in the literature, means a position or a standard in which is mind independent. When you invoke mind dependence to say that something is universally held to be the case, you're invoking subjectivity.
Hang on one second.
Don't worry about it, bro. I really wanted to go back to a statement that you made to touch on it. Do you mind if I do?
Sure.
Yeah. So you made the argument that the only reason bad things happen is for God's greater plan, right?
No, I said that bad things happening proves the existence of God because it proves the existence of evil, which if evil exists, good must also exist. And if good and evil exist as defined by God's word, then it would mesh with humanity as we know it, that there is objective good and evil. God is the originator of all that is good.
Would
and
you
God
say
is the originator of the laws that help us to know what is good and evil?
Would you say if good exists, then evil must also exist?
Correct.
So when God existed alone, was he good?
God. So that's not a concept. Okay, but you're asking me to understand, you're asking me to explain God, who is an infinite, indescribable, almost inconceivable being, and you're asking me to minimalize it to some finite understanding of what we have.
No, that's what the
by
Bible
our
tells you to
human
do.
logic.
That's what the Bible tells you to do. The Bible supposedly gives you revelations or truths about God. Is one of the truths in which the Bible gives you this idea that he's all good?
No, I mean, God is objectively all good in the Bible, yes.
Yeah, so God's objectively all good in the Bible. So then when you said, in order for good to exist, evil must also exist, that was absolute bullshit, because under Christian theology, you believe at one point God existed alone without any other creation,
Well, no, we
and
believe
God is
that God
defined as being
yeah.
all good, and this would not predicate the existence of any evil. In fact, it would deny it. Thank you for the galaxy. I appreciate you for the love. Thank you so much.
We believe that God has always existed.
Well, no shit. Did God ever exist alone?
Well, alone is a interesting term because God is 3 in 1. So technically, no.
Did the Trinity ever exist without any creation?
According to the Bible, yes.
And was this Trinity all good?
By what we believe, yes.
Did any evil exist at this time? Or would this be logically entailed that none did, as the Trinity is all good, and the Trinity was the only thing that existed? Will, think of the fireworks. The answer is yes, bro. So this means that in order for good to exist, it's not necessary that evil exists.
I'll concede that point, that it is not necessary for evil to exist for good to exist.
So then why did God allow evil to exist
Do you
if it's
believe
not
that good
necessary?
exists? Do you
And
believe
why
that
did God
evil-
allow evil to exist if it wasn't necessary?
So do you believe that evil exists?
Yes, subjectively. Don't
is
pivot. Why does God allow evil to exist
is
if it's
evil?
not necessary?
What is
Something
evil?
in which shouldn't occur in accordance with my own preferences. I'm a subjectivist. We've already gone over this. I just like it if you could
So
follow
if
my
it's
argument.
something, okay. How does that work in real life? Because if your preferences are that you should be able to take things that don't belong to you and you go out into the world and you attempt to implement your preferences, society will check you and let you know that your preferences are wrong.
Joel, I like what you're getting at. It's called the moral argument for God that's supposed to show that morality must be objective, therefore God exists. I like it, and I want to be able to respond to your questions, but can I do that at a point where it doesn't require a pivot for my argument? Like, can we?
We're not
kinda like-
pivoting.
we are, because I'm running the problem of evil right now. And the problem of evil shows that the existence of evil is logically incompatible with the existence of God. Okay? And what I've
No,
done
it's
is
not.
I've
Evil is not logically incompatible
so
with
why does God allow evil to exist if it's not necessary?
I could never answer that in 1,000 years.
If it is the case that there's a possible world out there where it is only good in which exists, as it is not necessary for evil to exist, and God did not actualize the world of only good, and he actualized the world with evil, this means one of two things. Either God is not all good, and he's a little bit sadistic, or God has a preference for a world with evil over a world without evil. And if it is the case that God has a preference for the world with evil, this means that it is not true evil, as the preference of God is always good.
No,
Evan, I
because
appreciate you for the $6.66
the Bible is
on
very
Venmo.
clear that God seeks to be worshipped by beings that have the choice not to worship him. He does not want people to be forced to worship him.
Wait, do aborted fetuses go to heaven?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, would a perfectly just God send them to hell as they haven't sinned?
I don't know the answer to that because everyone is that's not what we believe. We believe that everyone is born in sin. That from the moment that you are conceived in sin.
So yeah, so these fetuses with original sin, you don't know if they go to heaven?
I cannot answer that.
Okay, so it's either the case that God did allow the aborted fetus into heaven in such way he forced the fetus to choose him, as in everyone in heaven chooses God and doesn't sin, or he sends the fetus to hell, which is him unjustly punishing this intentfully sinless
Everyone in
life.
heaven does not choose God and doesn't sin. Heaven will be filled with sinners because
is it preferable for people that never existed?
The Bible clearly defines that there is no human for all of humanity, not one human has ever existed that did not sin. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God.
Wait, yeah, I get that. Original sin. Is it preferable for people that never existed to be sent to heaven or hell? Like never did anything on earth.
If they never existed, then they can't go anywhere because they never existed.
Wait, we'd say that like souls exist prior to like creation on earth, right?
That is not correct.
That is not correct. So did Jesus exist prior to incarnation on earth?
So Jesus is God. So Jesus existed
and then also
as
have
God
infant
for
sin?
all of eternity.
So wait,
What?
you'd say that infant sin through like original sin, right?
No, infants are born in sin.
They're born
Jesus
in original
was not
sin.
born in sin because he was immaculately conceived by God.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's like the overarching argument. So
but you know what you're also doing? You're also defying the ability for miracles to exist and for things to not be consistent with what you believe they should be consistent. The entire concept of God is an all-powerful being that's not bound by space and time. His entire existence is contradictory to your basic human logic that you're using to attempt to justify his non-existence.
Wait, one second. Are you saying that the existence of God is contrary to that of logic?
The existence of God is contrary to the existence of your flawed logic when understanding the concept of God.
Wait, so does God exist outside of logic?
God exists outside of everything.
So wait, could God make himself not? Yeah. So if God's not bound by logic, does this mean that God could create a rock too heavy for him to lift? If God's not bound by logic, does this mean that he can make atheism true? If God's not bound by logic, is it possible that God's not God? See, as soon as you say that God's not bound by logic, well, then all of a sudden you're committed to say that God could do all of these illogical things. But that's just predicately true due to the fact that he falls outside of logic.
Hear me out, all right? Hear me out. Is it logical for me to speak a world into existence?
Is it logical? It's logically possible, but it's not physically possible.
How is it logically possible?
Because logical possibility would entail that a contradiction doesn't exist. What's the contradiction between you speaking a world into existence?
Give it a shot.
Give it a shot? I can't because it's physically impossible.
So how is it logically possible?
Because in order for anything to be logically impossible, it means that it's logically contradictory, like P and not P. However, it is the case that speaking a world into existence is not logically contradictory, and it's for that reason that according to your own theology, God was able to do it. According to like the Christian literature, God can't do things that fall outside of logic. And like the fact that you deny that just shows your lack of education. I mean, feel free to read the literature. What is typically upheld is the idea that God can do anything that is logically possible. Because if you would hold to the view that God can do anything, even things that are logically impossible are seemingly nonsense, well, then your response that in order for God to eradicate evil, he would violate our free will. Well, see, that's what you believe.
No, if God eradicated evil,
issue.
there would be nothing in the world again. Do you want to be eliminated?
Wait,
You're
is my
evil. You would not
is my
exist.
existence intrinsically evil?
Yes.
So God created things in which are intrinsically evil?
Yes. With the
So God's an
perspective
evil
of evil.
creator.
No, God is not an evil creator.
So then we are intrinsically evil.
Okay. Are you perfect?
Am I perfect? No, I'm not perfect. I'm imperfect.
Are you a sinner?
Am I a sinner? I mean, I don't think that sin exists because I don't think that God exists, but in the assumption that God does exist, I am a sinner.
Okay. Have you ever done anything wrong?
Yes.
And what is wrongdoing called?
What is wrongdoing called?
Yes.
Well, like, according to your theology, it's called, like, sins, but I don't call it that.
No.
No. Like, I don't call wrongdoing sins.
That's iniquity. Sin means to miss the mark. Sin literally means not perfect.
Yeah,
You
so
miss.
you asked me what wrongdoing is called.
anything not
Like,
perfect?
wrongness? Like,
Have you ever done anything not perfect?
Yes.
So then you are a sinner by definition.
Okay, according to your theology, where are we going with this?
Okay, according to my theology, you act like I'm this one random person who holds this viewpoint. There is no major society on earth that holds an atheistic viewpoint as a group. The majority of people on this planet are religious. So for
Just
you to
as the majority of the people on this earth are irrational, but this was the point of my argument, Joel. So you're
the
saying
majority of people on this earth are not irrational. You believe yourself to be superior to the majority of people on earth? Is that because you're white? Are you a white supremacist?
you literally have white supremacists plastered on the front of your truck. What are we doing, Joel?
I absolutely do not.
I don't believe
I
myself to
absolutely
be.
do not.
I don't believe
That's
myself.
white privilege.
Sorry,
White privilege
white
is
right.
very different
right.
than white supremacy.
It is. White privilege is very different than white supremacy. I thought that listen, you got me there. I misspoke what it says on the front of your truck. White privilege and white supremacy are absolutely different. Moving back to what my point was, you said that God falls outside of logic. There's nothing in which he is bound by. So earlier when you made the argument that the only reason that sin and evilness exist is because of the predicate of God allowing us to have free will.
I didn't say that. First
Then
of all,
why
I
does
could not begin to know the reason that sin and evil exist. If I could solve the problem of evil on TikTok Live with Dean today, then for thousands of years, the most brilliant minds in the world that sought to solve the problem of evil, then I would have to be the most intelligent individual ever to exist.
Does God always do what is good?
That would be illogical.
Look, I'm going to explain this to you. Does God always do what's good?
God always does what is good for God.
Okay, so God always does what's good for God, which is the same standard of morality that you say what is good for us. So
No, that is not correct. Because God can utterly destroy a people group and it's right for him. It is not right for me.
Wait, 1 second. Do you just admit that the problem of evil isn't solved?
The problem of evil isn't solved. Are you kidding?
So you'd say that this is an unsolved argument that disproves Christianity?
It does not disprove Christianity. First of all, you can't disprove Christianity. Christianity
it
is a religion. It's the world's largest religion, and it isn't disproven because you have an issue with something that some Christian said. It's the world's largest religion, and it's not disproved because there are complicated concepts within it.
So, like, the particular refutation that I uphold is the logical problem of evil, basically saying that if God were to exist, then he wouldn't allow for the existence of proto-evils. However, proto-evils do exist, in which sense Christianity is false. But if you're saying here that, well, you don't know why evil and sin exists, well, I just simply ask you this. If God always does what is good, and when God was creating the world, he actualized the best possible state of affairs, well, would we
That's an
expect...
assumption. That's not a fact.
That's not an assumption, because would a good God...
an assumption.
Would a good God willingly cause unnecessary suffering?
I can't answer that.
Dude, this is so basic. So, like, imagine you said...
I don't know.
No, imagine you had a friend and you said they were a good friend. And you also said that this good friend never calls you. They're always dodging plans to hang out. They don't like to see you. Maybe sometimes they're even mean to you. Okay? And then you're saying that then like my response to this would be, well, in what sense are they a good friend if they do all these things?
Maybe
Very similarly, when you say we have a good God, but he causes unnecessary suffering just like Hitler did, and he wants kids to starve to death just like Mao Zedong did, well, how is it the case that it could be good?
To starve to death?
Wait, yeah, because 3 million children starve to death per year. God could have prevented.
Why do you assume that's what God wants?
Because God could have prevented.
That's a consequence of sin.
Because God could have prevented these 3 million children starving to death per year. If he were to, no, it's not an assumption. Is God all powerful? Yeah, thank you so much, buddy. God could have prevented these 3 million children from starving to death per year by designing our biological systems to function in such a way where if we didn't eat, we didn't die.
Oh my gosh. Let me ask you this: is it my responsibility that there are children starving in Africa?
No.
but I have the power to help mitigate that. I could have
You
taken
could. You
I
could
could
send
have
your
taken
money over there. You could do that.
$800,000 that I put into a house and a car last year, and I could have spent it on children eating.
Yeah, you could have. But guess what? Here's
Does
the
that
thing
make
about
me
God.
evil to spend money on my own luxuries when I could be stopping children from starving?
Like maybe to some degree, but like I think the overwhelming
You're
like
assuming that
like
because
the
you're
no, of
assuming
cour-
that because someone can do something that they must do something.
Well, here's the thing. If we had a parent that had 5 children and this parent had to figure out how to feed these 5 children for the next 365 days, and the first way that this parent could have fed the kids is by giving them the food up front, telling them to share it equally, knowing that the oldest and strongest child will hoard all of the food for themselves, resulting in the deaths of the other 4. And the second way that the parent could have fed the kids is by rationing it out to them individually each day, making sure that none of the kids die. Would the parent be doing anything wrong by distributing the food in such a manner that would cause the deaths of the other 4 children?
So first of all, that's not even remotely the same thing, because
We will relate
has
it.
an obligation. A parent has a moral obligation to provide for their kids. God does not owe you jack diddly squat. If you died tomorrow, it wouldn't be on God.
Can you answer in the confines of the
The
analogy? Then I'll
only
show you how
thing
this
that
is synonymous.
God owes you, actually, that's not true. God does owe you something. God owes you eternal damnation for your sins. That's what God owes you.
Okay, so listen, you didn't really respond here, but I'll try to walk you through it. So it's like it
No,
would
I
be.
did respond. You gave an
So wait, so you're
improper
saying that
example.
so you're saying that like a good parent would like sustain the lives of their children, but like a good God wouldn't?
You're not understanding. God has already enabled people to properly care for themselves, for one.
Oh,
And
yeah.
for two, suffering that exists in the world is because God allowed people to live in and live out the consequences of their sin on earth.
Right, but here's my claim. If we had a parent with these 5 children, and one of the ways in which the parent could feed them would the parent would know that it would result in the deaths of the other 4 children, we'd say that the parent would have partial responsibility for doing something wrong here. We understand that it's the oldest child there. One second. We'd understand that the oldest child here would be doing something wrong by hoarding the food, resulting in the deaths of the other 4 children, but the parent would also be partially responsible for allowing the oldest child to do that when they could have prevented it. And this is exactly what we're saying about God here. When God created the earth, created us, and he decided that if we don't eat, we starve and die. Well, and on top of that, he could have created us in another fashion where if we didn't eat, we didn't starve and die. And he knew that in 2024, 3 million kids would starve to death per year against their will. Well, I'm going to say God's going to be partially responsible for those 3 million deaths per year because he could have prevented them and he knew that they would occur.
So, are you familiar with what it would entail for God to prevent all of those children from starving to death? And let's say that he solves the problem of starving to death. So now there are more children, and then the children are forced to become child soldiers. Is God at fault for them being child soldiers because he prevented them from starving to death?
Wait, sorry, repeat that. I was reading a text from my girlfriend. I apologize.
No, it's fine. I said that if those children didn't starve to death, but instead they were forced to be child soldiers, is God now at fault for allowing them to live and become child soldiers?
Like if he prevented the starvation, knowing that he would be. So what you're saying here is that it is likely the case that if these children didn't starve to death, the world, all things considered, would experience worse outcomes, right?
So then you could go back to the very beginning and say that God is cruel for creating humans to begin with. He could have just never created us, and then we'd never experience suffering, and then we wouldn't know any difference because we'd never been created.
Well, I'd say that God could have created us in such a way where we did experience things, but not suffering. But I want to get back on that one argument that you
Are
gave
you aware
there.
that
You made one second, Joel. You said you made the claim that it's possible that if God were to prevent these 3 million children starving to death per year, that worse outcomes would be experienced, such as like child slavery. All this is telling me is that it's good that these 3 million children starve to death per year because the alternative world in which they don't has worse outcomes.
Good. Your issue is that you're blaming God with it.
Wait,
First of all,
do good things tell us what we should and shouldn't, what we should do?
a good thing is something that we should do, and a bad thing is something that we should not do.
So if it is the case that these children not starving to death causes the worst outcome of child slavery, you'd say that these children should starve to death, right?
Wait, no, why are the children starving?
Why are the children starving? Because God allowed them to by designing their biological systems to function in such a manner where if they don't eat, they don't die. And there's greedy, evil people, governments and organizations hoarding the money and the food for themselves.
You just pointed the finger at the people actually responsible. The
There's
government
partial
and people
responsibility
who
amongst two
controlling the
parties, just
wealth
as in my
are
hypothetical
responsible
about
for
the
those
parent.
children
There's partial
starving,
responsibility
not
about the
God.
oldest child hoarding the food as well as the parent.
No,
Would you hold partial responsibility for the parent in my hypothetical?
no.
You wouldn't. So it's not the parent's fault for making a negligent decision causing the deaths of their 4 children. So if a parent had a child and put a loaded pew pew in front of them and told them not to touch it, but then they did and unalive themselves, would the parent be partially at fault?
No, because they told them not to touch it.
Oh my fucking God. That is crazy as all
Why
hell,
did you
Joel.
reference someone you don't believe exists?
That is so fucking crazy. You just said that if
Why
I'm a
did you
parent
just
and I take
reference
a
someone
loaded
you
pew
don't
pew
believe
and I
exists?
put it on a table in front of my child, tell them not to touch it, then they do, there's no partial responsibility here?
That's irresponsible on your part, but that's
It's
not what's happening here.
It's irresponsible. So I do have partial responsibility. So in
You
the
as a
same
human
sense,
have
God's
partial
irresponsible and God has partial
If God, if
responsibility.
we're using God as the example, God has no responsibility because whatever God does is perfectly fine because God is not bound by our ideas of morality or laws or anything of that nature.
Okay, yeah. So you're saying that God is defined as good. Anything that he does is good, correct?
God told us that he is good.
So if God like eradicated free will and destroyed all evil tomorrow, that would be good?
I can't answer that.
No, you can. You just said anything God does is good. If God did this, it would be good.
Oh,
Why
if
don't
God did it, then yes, it would be good.
And is a world without evil preferable to a world with evil?
I don't know because I haven't experienced it, but I would imagine.
So you don't know of a world without the Holocaust, without P3DOs, without child sex trafficking, without without nukes, without women being raped, without, according to you, abortions. You're saying, oh wait, a world without lesbians. So are you saying that you don't know if it's better for people to be lesbians in comparison to not being lesbians?
I never said that I wanted a world without lesbians.
No, but if it is the case, would you say you don't know if it's better for there to be lesbians or not to be lesbians?
Actually, I think we should go back. Yeah, I think we should go back to the topic. So the issue that the Bible actually has with lesbians is that all forms of sexual intercourse outside of marriage are sin.
Yeah. I mean, like
even a man and a woman.
Yeah, I just don't think that like Christianity is true. Like, and I don't think that the Bible can be used as a reliable standard for morality.
Okay, wait. What do you not think is true? You don't think it's a historical account of what occurred in a geographical location on the earth?
I mean, I think that the historicity of Jesus Christ being the Son of God is highly unlikely given the lack of historical evidence, but more so my issues with the Christian faith are purely philosophical.
Do you believe he existed?
Do I believe Jesus existed as a human? Yeah, of course.
What year do you think he existed?
He was born in 0 and died in 33.
Well, he's probably most likely born in 3, but we'll go with that because they didn't count the years perfectly. So you recognize that? Would you say that he is the most influential person ever to exist?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
But you don't believe that there's a possibility he could have been God?
No, because I don't think that the Christian God could have existed. But say like my LPOE didn't follow and it's just unlikely that he was God, there would be a possibility, but we wouldn't be like just in assuming that that's the case.
Okay, so Christianity, the belief in Jesus Christ, is historically backed by facts and extensive research to prove that the teachings that he did are the teachings that we have now. No, yes, it is.
Oh, like I'm saying what's not backed by historical evidence is the idea that he was divine.
Do you believe that there were any miracles
from the dead
performed by Jesus?
I don't think that we have enough evidence to indicate that that's like the most probable scenario. So no,
So
I
you
don't
just think
that.
he came and told people to be nice to people, and that was enough that people talked about him for thousands of years?
I mean, you assume that's what was enough for Prophet Muhammad to be the leader of the world's largest religion in 2060. So yeah,
he was a pretty impressive conqueror.
But if it was the case that he was divinely inspired and had a spiritual experience with the angel Gabriel, in which led him to the revelation that Jesus Christ wasn't the Son of God, then he wouldn't be a Christian. So obviously you reject his divinity in the sense that I am now rejecting the divinity of Jesus Christ. But you were saying that I'm absurd so for doing so when we speak about Jesus Christ.
No, he couldn't
but
have
you're
been.
not
No,
absurd
not
so when you do so about Prophet
No,
Muhammad.
it's not the same thing because Christianity predates Islam by 500 years.
And Hinduism predates Christianity. Is Hinduism more likely to be true? No. Okay, so what predates what doesn't matter.
I didn't answer that. I personally don't believe so. That it's more likely to be true, but obviously I'm biased towards Christianity. But you mentioned Muhammad. Did Muhammad claim to be God or perform any miracles or claim to perform miracles?
So I don't know if he like claimed to perform any miracles, but I know that he claimed to be a prophet of God.
Right, but did he claim to be God?
No,
And did
no,
he
he
claim
didn't.
to perform any miracles?
He didn't claim to be God, but I don't know about miracles. I really haven't like sat down and read the Quran.
Were you like raised Christian and have like some kind of vendetta against how you were raised?
Well, I have a vendetta against how I was raised, but like the reason I'm not Christian is because I'm like rational. Like,
No, but
is
you were
this like
raised
what is this
Christian,
weird
right?
gaslighting? Yeah, I was raised Catholic specifically.
Do you know how I knew that?
How so?
Because nobody takes the time to research something they believe doesn't exist to the extent that you have.
Well, I mean, personally speaking, I love reading the Bible. I love researching Christianity because of the large impact that it has on like the country that I live in. 88% of the people in Congress are Christian. I mean, Christians control the institutions that exist worldwide. And I don't think that it's fair to say that, well, I know it's true because of how much I research it. I mean, I am extensively researched on pro life arguments, but yet I'm pro choice. That's just what comes with being a man of the literature that likes to critically examine the world around him and detail
Wait,
which
you are
beliefs are true and
pro-choice?
false. Yeah.
So then you do believe that abortion is unaliving a human being?
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't think that it's just it's just like a moot point, and that there's no like consequences or no like problematic issues that are going to come later in the individual's lives who are involved in that practice?
I mean, it's possible that there's like negative consequences of abortions the same way there's negative consequences of getting a tattoo or eating at McDonald's, but
But
like
you
I don't
believe
think
that a
that's
human being
sufficient to
is
say that it's
unalived?
morally wrong.
You
Yes,
believe that a human being is unalived,
absolutely.
but you believe that it's morally right?
I think it's morally permissible. And like the same way I think that pulling a plug on a brain dead patient is morally permissible, even though there's a
You know
human
that
being
there were some
unalive.
people who wore armbands, right? Who thought it was morally permissible to unalive choose.
I think it's funny that when you hear a man say that it's morally permissible to unalive some humans in the sense of abortion, you automatically conflate this to literal genocide. I'm gonna do the
Oh no,
same
no,
thing to you
no.
now.
Mass unaliving of humans is
I'm
the
gonna do
literal definition of genocide.
I'm gonna do this to you now. Do you think it's morally wrong to pull the plug on a brain dead patient?
Yes.
You do. So do you think it should be illegal?
Yes.
So you think that like families should be like obligated to spend $78,000 a day to sustain the life of a brain dead patient, but then they should be able to go to fucking McDonald's or KFC and buy a fucking burger with a slaughtered cow in it? What makes a brain dead human a vegetable morally valuable, but a cow
You're a
invaluable?
vegan?
No, I'm not a vegan. I'm a meat eater, and I believe there's good arguments against veganism, but not insofar as to support that a human vegetable with biological life but no consciousness now or in the
They aren't
future
a
is more
vegetable.
valuable than a dog.
They aren't a vegetable.
Absolutely, they do. Brain death is an irreversible cessation of cognitive function.
Correct, but they would still be meat.
All right, taking my words a little too literal there, buddy. But no, like seriously, like obviously you don't think it's morally wrong to pull the plug on a brain dead patient. Like you were saying that just for the like intensive purpose of the debate, right?
So here's my thing. Actually, like I think we do too much to keep people alive who are old and are no longer have a quality of life. But at the same time, I don't think we should be unaliving them. I'm not pro assisted.
Wait,
I mean.
let me ask you another question. Do you think that women with IUDs are literal murderers because in some scenarios an IUD will prevent the implantation of a conceived zygote of essentially starving and killing a human life?
So here's where I'm gonna get you, Chief. I'm actually anti contraceptives of any kind.
Yeah, I mean, I expected that out of you, but I'm not asking you if you're anti-contraceptives. I'm asking you if you think that women with IUDs are murderers.
Well, I don't think that women who get abortions are murderers, are schmurderers. I think they
What's
are.
murder?
No, I think they are enabling the doctor to be a schmurderer.
Wait, I'm so sorry. So if I go online and pay for a hitman to take out my mom, did I not pay for murder?
You are an accomplice, but you did not commit the schmurder.
Wait, so if I pay for murder, should I go to jail?
Yes, as an accomplice, but you did not.
Okay, so when women buy an IUD and they pay for it to function in such a manner that unalives a human that's essentially murder under your worldview, should they go to jail?
But doesn't it prevent implantation?
Or
And
is that
it
incorrect?
prevents. It does. It prevents implantation of a what? Conceived zygote, which kills it.
I think I would allow that because I think it's better than unaliving a fetus, but I still am not in favor of that.
So wait, you would allow murderers to walk free? We should be able to pay for murder and just roam the streets freely? You don't think that all murderers should go to jail? Also,
Well,
not to
all,
mention the whole pay for murder thing is crazy. If I pay for a fucking IED and throw it in a public park and a family of 4 steps on it, am I a murderer?
no.
Bro, what?
An IUD or an IED?
An IED.
Oh, absolutely. You just
Yeah. So, like in a similar sense, if you'd say that all human life has the same amount of intrinsic value and unjustifiably ending
I
it
did
is
not.
murder.
Yeah, I did not hear you correctly because I thought we were previously talking about an IUD.
We were talking about an
Yeah,
IUD.
you threw a wrench in my gears there.
No,
boss.
I understand. No, that's a miscommunication there. So yeah, like if it is the case that all human lives are just as valuable as one another, and
they're
an
not.
IUD,
They are not.
okay. So
If someone is morally bankrupt and decrepit, their life is not as valuable as an innocent.
yeah. So all innocent life is like has the same value, right? It's like it's just as wrong to unalive it all, right?
But here's what I'm saying. So I believe it's 49.6 million babies have been unalived through the practice of abortion since Roe versus Wade. And if you believe that the Holocaust was wrong, then you also, because of the numbers, 6 million, then you also must agree that abortion is.
Wait. Oh, wait, real quick. You said
Holocaust.
you could go ahead and repeat that. I was looking at a text. I'm sorry.
Wait, which words are we allowed to say?
You could say H cost murder, but like I just keep censoring that.
You have to say schmurder. I do know that. I've
Schmurder?
gotten there.
Yeah. Just you could say abortion though. Just censor your words. It's good. But go ahead and repeat that. I'm sorry. I was sending someone a text.
Because believe it or not, I don't seek to just go in and get people taken down because I think it's, even though we disagree, I think it's all of us against the machine, and that discussions that occur across the aisle are essential to public discourse and democracy.
Dude, you're pretty fucking wild. I'm not gonna lie, Joel. You're pretty fucking insane. But I'm here for the conversation.
Is that ableist?
Insane, not referencing any like mental conditions, but just
you don't have to
referring
qualify
to.
me. I'm just messing with you.
All right, motherfucker. Listen up. So you said that you think that like morally like bankrupt lives are less valuable than that of like innocent life.
Yeah, like
Didn't you say earlier that we're all morally deplorable?
we are all morally bankrupt? Yes.
And are all sins just as bad as the next?
Absolutely not. I don't know if you've ever heard that. That is not even remotely true.
Are you a Catholic?
No, I am not.
So why would you uphold that view? I mean,
I'm not
good,
Catholic.
because that's what the Bible says. Like,
I'm not
wait. I have a question. So, do you know how like the Bible says that like what is it
Any
called?
sin would have put Jesus.
Is
any sin would
blasphemy
have
the
put-
worst sin?
The blasphemy of the Holy Spirit is actually the only sin that is not forgivable.
Yeah. So, would you say that blasphemy is worse than grape?
Would I say that? What do you mean by that?
So, when I say fuck God, that is worse than graping someone?
All right. Okay, Dean. In the off chance that God exists, do you think he would appreciate you speaking to him that way?
No, that's why it's called blasphemy. I'm
So is that
literally
a gamble? But is
I'm
that a
lit-
gamble? Is that
Yeah.
a gamble that you're willing to take?
I'm gambling my my everlasting life for the purpose of a TikTok demonstration. What I just did was literally blasphemy. Do you think that that was worse than grape?
Now, what I wouldn't do is I wouldn't say that and then say Allah because somebody might hurt you for that.
You would answer my question. Is saying fuck God worse than grape?
You
Literal
wouldn't say
grape.
that towards Allah, would you?
Fuck Allah.
Bro, I'm like not even joking. Don't do that. That is not worth your life.
Is that
don't
worse
do
than
that.
grape, Joel?
Bro, no, seriously, like arguments aside.
Answer my question. Is that worse than grape?
Dean, I am seriously saying this as just a random person on the internet that is concerned with your safety. Don't ever do that again.
What's the difference between saying like F Allah and F God?
Oh my gosh, because there are people that follow Allah that take that a whole lot more seriously than Christians take blasphemy.
I don't know. Christian nationalists are pretty fucking insane to me, man.
And Christian nationalists will not unalive you for saying that.
Well, they certainly did. Leviticus 18:22, it says, stone the sinners. Fucking yeah. Stone those lesbians to death. The Christian nationalists will never do that.
Dean, in
Yeah,
all seriousness,
listen.
arguments aside, please do not ever do that again. I care about you as a human being, as an individual, and I don't want someone to come across you in the street and hurt you.
And I appreciate you for the $5 on Venmo. All right, yo, Agbor, I appreciate you for the dollar on Venmo. I definitely agree with you there. But you never answered my question. Yeah. So you never answered my question here. So I asked you, like, is like blasphemy the worst sin against God? You're like, yeah, it's like the one sin that's unforgivable. So is blasphemy against God worse than child rape? That's the question that I'm asking you here.
Yes.
So you would prefer Hitler to commit the Holocaust in comparison to him blaspheming the Lord?
No, that's not what I said. But according to God, God will not forgive the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, but is morality an extension of the objective standard of God according to your worldview?
Every other sin is forgivable.
No. But like morality, like what you think is good, what you think is good and bad, is a mere extension of the objective standard of God, right?
And according to God, the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit is more serious of a sin.
Yeah. So you'd say that you'd prefer Hitler to commit the Holocaust in comparison to saying "fuck God."
I wouldn't prefer either. I would prefer that neither exist.
I know, but like, listen, Dean, I have a question.
No, Dean, you can't make that argument. Let me ask you this: would you prefer me to cut off your nose or your ear?
I'd probably miss my ears more. We could use a better example for this.
Would you prefer me to poke out both your eyes or rip out your esophagus?
Like, probably my eyes, but these are all like very trivial things.
You wouldn't prefer me to not do either?
Well, I mean, in the case that it was do one or the other, we could say that one option is more preferable than the other, but we could also say that not doing it at all is like worse than both of them. And that could play into the question I'm asking you here. I understand that you're saying it's more preferable for Hitler to not commit the Holocaust or to blaspheme God, but if it was the case that Hitler had to do one of these two things, would you prefer him commit the Holocaust or blaspheme God?
I would prefer him to not do either.
No, I know. Me too. But he has to do one. Which one is worse?
Well, actually, I can answer that. I would prefer him to blaspheme God and spend eternity in hell rather than him destroy an entire race of people.
Which one would God prefer him to do?
I couldn't answer that. I'm not God.
No, you said God thinks blasphemy is the most unforgivable sin, worse than anything else.
Well, God would just prefer you not to sin at all.
Yeah, but in the case that this man's going to sin, like, for instance, God would prefer me to unalive one person in comparison to 10. In the case that I had to unalive anyone at all.
0 people.
Right. God has a preference for me not to unalive anyone. But if I like blaspheme, is it impossible for me to go to heaven?
If you blaspheme the Holy Spirit, it is impossible for you to go to heaven.
Yeah. But it's possible for God to forgive Hitler for committing the Holocaust, right?
Well, also, you can't commit the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit.
This super irrelevant. Answer my question. Is it possible for...
Because Jesus has to be present in the flesh for you to commit that blasphemy.
Is it possible for God to forgive Hitler for like committing the Holocaust?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so what you're saying is that if I blaspheme God, it's impossible for me to get into heaven. But if Hitler commits
the Holy Spirit,
if I blaspheme the Holy Spirit, it's impossible for me to get into heaven. But if I commit the Holocaust, it isn't.
That's correct.
That's insane.
I mean, I didn't write the Bible. I don't know why you're expecting me to understand and justify everything that occurred in the Bible.
I don't know. I appreciate you for the $3.33 on Venmo. That's a wild take, bro. That's like an insane take.
No, it's a consistent take.
I have a question. Would you rather someone engage in lesbian intercourse or say fuck God?
Neither. I would rather neither occur.
I know, but one has to happen. Which one is better? Evan, thank you for the $1.
Neither occur.
Yeah. But if one has to occur.
Also, if we want to be super technical, probably the reason the Bible doesn't mention those people is because the Bible does not consider sex without penetration sex.
Then why is it wrong? If
mean,
it's
I
not sex, why is it wrong?
I
You
think
said these are immoral sexual relations, but now you're saying that it's not sex, so why is it wrong?
well, according to the Bible, I'm saying so the sin would be the sin of lust.
Okay, so you're saying it's just as wrong for two lesbians to engage in intercourse as it is wrong for me to
Because then the
viciously
sin would
make
be-
out with
yeah,
my
the sin-
girlfriend?
The sin would be lust to commit adultery.
So
That
it's so it's just as wrong to engage in lesbian intercourse as it is for me to viciously make out with my girlfriend.
I don't think the Bible references making out, but if you're lusting while making out, then yes.
Wait, what does that mean to lust?
To lust is to have inappropriate sexual thoughts.
Wait, but you said that intercourse between two women isn't sex, so why do you say they're sexual thoughts?
No. I said the Bible doesn't describe intercourse between women as sex.
Yeah, so if someone wants it, how could this be a sexual thought if it's not a form of sex?
No, it could be no, it doesn't. It's an inappropriate. Yeah, it's an inappropriate sexual thought.
An inappropriate sexual thought. Yeah, what is a sexual thought? That's what we start there.
Well, anything outside the confines of marriage, so anything that's not between a man and a woman.
VT, I appreciate you for the 5 subscriptions. Thank you so much, VT.
How did I get a subscription?
Wait, it sent you a one?
Yeah. How did I get a subscription?
Oh shit. Test?
Wait,
oh, you got an echo.
one?
You got an echo, Joel. Swipe in and out of the app, man. Bro, this is crazy. Y'all, this guy is off his fucking rocker. I'm happy that he's like more educated. He's like more educated than the average Christian by a long shot. I will give him that. It actually makes for interesting conversation. Joel, I can't hear you, man. Joel just left. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to our next guest at this point. What a crazy conversation. What an absolutely insane combo. Guys, if you want to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in that bio. And Tristan, I appreciate you for the galaxy. We're going to... Oh, he's back. Welcome back, Joel.
You told me to swipe out.
Yeah, I didn't know that it'd make you quit. Agbor, thank you for the $1 on Venmo.
Didn't make me quit. I swiped out and I came back and I couldn't see me.
Well, you did. You're back now. You're back now. So that's a W. Can I ask you more questions about God?
Sure.
Is God all-knowing?
I believe he is.
Does that mean God knows what it's like to take 10 inches?
I believe he would technically, yes.
Okay, thanks. Next question. Do you think that ethnic cleansing and genocide are always wrong?
No.
But do you think lesbian intercourse is always wrong?
Yes.
So it's always wrong for two women to hold hands sexually, but it's not wrong always to commit genocide and ethnic cleansing?
Yeah, I don't think holding hands is intercourse.
I mean, you said fucking intercourse between two women wasn't intercourse either.
Well, it's not, because who's in... Never mind.
So wait, if it's not wrong for two women to hold hands sexually, why is it wrong for them to do the
No. The Bible
sexually?
The Bible says to lust is to commit adultery. The sin is lust. So you hooking up with your girlfriend because you're not married is just as sinful in the Bible as two lesbians doing whatever it is that they do.
Yeah, but nationalistic chattel slavery isn't wrong. Genocide isn't wrong. I mean, there's a lot in there, but I just reject the existence of the God. Wait, let's actually go through the historicity of Jesus Christ. I want you to give me a compelling case for the historicity of Jesus Christ being the Son of God. And Rebecca, I appreciate you for the $1 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love.
Wait. Hang on. You do talk very fast, which congratulations that your brain moves that fast. Mine does not move at that speed. You said, how can I say that lesbian intercourse is wrong? I've already explained it to you like a dozen times.
No, I'm asking you to prove that Jesus Christ was the Son of God. Give me an argument for that.
I can't prove that Jesus Christ was the Son of God. I can only prove that he existed as a historical figure.
Okay, so then why would you assume him to be divine? If you don't have any evidence for this,
I believe him to be divine.
Oh, on the basis of what? Faith?
Faith provided with evidence. Do you believe yourself to be a superior being?
No, I don't. I don't.
You don't.
No, I don't think that superiority exists. I think it's typically
you don't believe yourself to be intellectually superior to every other living organism on this planet.
So if we categorize it intellectually speaking, if you're just asking me, do I think I'm smarter than most people? My answer is yes.
No,
I don't think. That this
So
would like
I'm sure
reduce
you
down to
are
a
talking
value-based
about,
judgment.
that's not, no, we're not talking about most people. I'm talking about creatures. Are you one of the most intelligent creatures on planet Earth?
Oh, like humans? Yes. Humans are the most superior species on Earth.
And why is that?
Why is that? Because we have a higher level of rationale. Like we have a capacity for like a higher level of consciousness, and like just a summation of these traits would equate to a level of superiority that we have that others don't. Like if it was,
Do humans do anything that is not necessary for survival?
yeah, of course.
Give me an example.
You talking to me on this live right now, is this necessary for survival?
No.
Okay, there's an example.
So if you believe that there is a higher version of animals, let's just say for this example, we're animals, why would that not make sense that whatever made us is more intelligent than us?
Well, I don't think that anything made us. If it was the case that something did make us, then it would be more intelligent. But I don't think that we have a creator. I don't think that we have a god. Could you give me an argument for that?
Yes. If you came across a Tesla robot in the woods, would you assume that it spawned, it grew, it metabolized from evolution? What
No,
would you
I'd assume
assume?
it's created.
Because it's what?
Because it's like mechanical, and I have priors with humans creating Tesla robots.
And it shows design and intelligence.
It does, yeah.
But you don't?
But no, I don't think I do in the same sense. Like this is
You
called
don't
the
show
what?
design and intelligence?
Yeah, I don't think I show design because design is predicated on a creator. This is called the watchmaker fallacy. And essentially, what you're saying here is if I found
Have
like
you
a
ever known a
Rolex.
watch to exist that was not made?
No.
So
I
then
could
how is
like,
that a fallacy?
I could like, yeah, it's a fallacy because the argument goes as follows. You're like, well, imagine that we find like a Rolex in like the middle of like the desert. Would we assume that that was created? Yes,
Correct.
we would, because we have priors with humans creating Rolexes, right? It's an intuition pump. But in the same breath, we don't have priors with gods creating universes.
Right, but you
Right?
believe in evolution, correct?
I do.
Even though
Yes,
you
thank you for the hand
haven't,
arts.
even though you haven't observed it.
Wait, yeah, we do observe evolution, like
We do not.
microevolution. Yeah, I
We
could give you an
observe
example.
microevolution. We've never observed macroevolution. We've never observed one species turn into a completely different
Microevolution is literally microevolution plus time. Do you believe in microevolution?
Right, but you're assuming
You
an
believe in
amount of time
time?
that no one. You assume amount of time that no one has any concept of.
An assumption? No, we can literally like we could like, well, first of all, we know that there's like biological activity on the Earth through the use of like chemical grading of rock deposits from billions of years, like billions of years ago. Like, I mean, it's not an assumption. It's not an assumption. No, like we could like, so basically like we could use like particular tools, like such as like uranium lead dating to like dictate how old these particular like chemical
That would be
deposits
based
are
on
in
the
rock.
fact that we understand. That would be based on the fact that we understand uranium lead dating.
Yes.
Do you know
Yes,
what
we
the
do.
margin of error is right now for going back 2.5 billion years? Do you know what their margin of error is?
What's the margin of error?
It's like 1 to 5 million years.
Oh my god, that is so fucking minute. That is tiny. Are you kidding me? 1 to 5 million years in contrast to 14 billion?
Right, but 1 to 5 million years is a concept that we have no concept of.
What are you yapping about, bro?
I'm not yapping. Well, how long have we been writing things down?
Like what? I don't know. Maybe 45,000 years?
5,500 years.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that's true, and I was wrong. So
How long
where are
have
we
you
going
been
with this?
recording things like audio,
GT?
video recording?
No shot. Yo, GT. If that's the person I'm thinking about, feel free to join up. But anyways,
how long have you been recording video, audio recordings?
Oh, like very like, I don't know. I think the first picture is like we have is from like the late 19th century.
Okay, so before people were writing things
Yo,
down.
Good Trouble. I appreciate you for the raid. Thank you so much for the love.
Before
Good Trouble. WGT as well. Oh, that is Good Trouble.
Before writing things down and before taking pictures and taking video, everything was what?
Everything was what? Like it was either it was like oral tradition.
It was hearsay.
It was hearsay. Okay, where are we going with this?
How accurate is eyewitness testimony?
Very inaccurate.
Interesting. So, the only thing that we know for a fact is that 5,500 years ago, people started writing things down.
Yeah, but we're not using.
So for you to say that the margin of error of 1 to 5 million years is a minute margin of error when that is a volume of time that we have absolutely no context and no understanding of.
Here's what I'm saying. So you're
I'm
saying
telling you that the reason that I'm not an atheist is because I don't have enough faith for that.
well, I mean, first of all, when you say that there's a margin of error of like a couple million years with like uranium lead
1 to
dating,
5 is not a couple.
if you let me finish, I could explain to you how insignificant that is. When we're speaking about the age of the Earth and we're throwing numbers out there like 14 or 15 billion years old, a
That's
margin of
somebody's educated guess.
a margin of no, that is with the use of uranium lead dating, as well
Again,
as other
someone's
techniques such
educated
as
guess.
sedimentary rock
We've
layering.
only been writing things down for 5,500 years.
When you say guess, what are you implying
someone's
there?
educated guess.
When you say guess, what are you implying there?
They're guessing based on the information that they have.
Oh no, he got removed for hate speech. Like, I mean, like the percentage change there, like contrasting like 1.5 million years to like 14, 15 billion is like an insanely low. Like that's like a 99.99% confidence interval. Like if you want to call a 99.99% confidence interval an educated guess, just go for it. But that is like just dramatically inaccurate. No, I didn't kick him. He got banned for hate speech. Like, why would I kick him? He's a big fucking creator. He probably brought me in a lot of views. Why would I kick him? I don't know. Maybe he could clarify that in the chat. We'll go ahead and move on to Parker Sisson. Let's go ahead and see what he has to say. Oh, wait. He just said in the chat that he didn't kick me. If you just go look at Joel Patrick's message in there, he said I didn't kick him. Joel, we'll have to talk more. There you go. He said it in the chat. Diminish the conspiracy theories. What's up? How old are you?
Hello, I'm 23.
Yeah, your name and your profile picture are embarrassing. Anyways, do you think that being lesbian is wrong?
You don't like Parker?
No, I love Parker. Right? That's the
Then
fucking
how is it
homie.
embarrassing?
Yeah, because you were just commenting in my chat how I lost to the last guest and he kicked me. You're obviously a hater.
I know
You
we're
spend
getting
too much of your
kicked, man.
Oh, good lord. You'll be good fun. So, do you think that being lesbian is wrong?
No.
What the fuck's going on with you?
I don't know. You brought me up.
You were in the guest requests.
Oh, I must have accidentally clicked it.
Yeah, go back to the chat. We're gonna go and see what our next guest has to say. Make sure if we are in those guest requests that we do indeed think that being a lesbian is wrong. Dude. Also, Parker, if you're still watching, I'm really bad at responding to messages while I'm streaming, so I do apologize about that. I don't have like I can't. My multitasking is so bad. Can we get an L multitasking in the chat? Let's get an L multitasking in the chat. What's going on, Gladness? How old are you? All right, Gladness ain't here. We're going to move on to our next guest. Yo, guys, also, if we're enjoying this stream, make sure to hit that follow button. Additionally, here, if you want to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in my bio. Right, so I get 100% of the proceeds over those platforms, and it is the best possible way to support me. It really helps me be able to continue to do what I do. What's up? How old are you?
19.
You're 19? No, you're not. You're a fetus. Hop out of here. Okay, moving on to our next guest. Let's go ahead and see what Erica has to say. Keep in mind, if we are in those guest requests, make sure that we think that being a lesbian is wrong. Moving on. Dude, that was a baby. What is up, Erica? How old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay, yeah. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
I mean, I guess it's just anyone's choice, but personally, I wouldn't be lesbian.
So being a lesbian isn't a choice.
I mean, it kind of is, though.
You must be confused. No, being a lesbian is a natural byproduct of like biological predispositions. Like we can't choose our sexual attractions or our orientation. And she left. Okay, moving on to our next guest here. Let's go ahead and see what good old John has to say. Guys, wow, what an interesting little group of people here. What's up, John? How old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
Nice, man. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
I don't think. Well, I do. Let me just talk for a second, please. I think that I don't think you ought to blame anybody for being a lesbian, but I think that, like, okay, so why is somebody attracted to another person?
Because like preconditions for their orientation. Like, I mean, we could like explain attractions with the use of like neurobiology.
This is
but, like,
how I
very
view
minimally.
it. This is how I view it, and I'm
Can you
open-minded.
wait? Do you think that women being attracted to women is morally wrong?
Not morally wrong, no. I think because when you're
Okay. I appreciate you for coming up, John. We are just looking to talk to people that do think it's wrong. Let's go to move on to our next guest, Honor, here, y'all. It's based on smell. It's crazy. What's up? How old are you?
I'm 18. How's it going, man?
It's going all right. What year were you born in?
2006.
Sweet. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
Yes, I do.
All right, here real quick, I'm gonna start giving this notice to everyone that I talk to. We've gotten like 2 flags so far, so if like another guest says anything bad, the live will get taken down. Only say the word lesbian, okay? Don't say GAY or anything else. So why do you think being a lesbian is wrong?
Well, I was in the church service today, and our pastor actually talked about being homosexuality.
No. Okay, I just told you not to say any word apart from lesbian. Good Lord, Christians are kind of like fucking on my nerves. Hey, I'm gonna deal with you quick. Name a verse in the Bible that tells us being a lesbian is wrong.
All right, Romans 1:26. All right.
Yeah, and if you understand the historical context of the Greek-Roman society behind Romans 1:26, you'd understand that consentful same-gendered intercourse didn't exist in the same sense it does today as it was illegal. The only times that we saw like dudes fucking dudes was when like older men would hire young male prostitutes to take their sexual frustrations out on, making it known that the reason this was documented as being wrong by Paul wasn't because of its inherent same-sex, its inherent same-sex properties, but rather because it was typically used as a form of prostitution or, like lustful.
I see what you're saying, but I just think that's wrong. It's still in the New Testament. A lot of people argue that.
Okay, so how do you know that the New Testament is accurate in dictating what is good and bad?
Because everything in the Bible is breathed through God's word.
Yeah, I don't think so. Can you give me an argument for that?
I don't know the exact verse, but there is a verse.
I mean, I don't think that just because a book says something, it's true. The Quran says that Prophet Muhammad had a spiritual encounter with Angel Gabriel that led him to the revelation that Jesus wasn't the Son of God, yet you don't accept that.
Yes, I understand your argument, but yeah, I don't accept that.
So do you have any evidence for your faith here, or is it just that, faith?
It's a lot faith. Yeah, I believe that.
That's so problematic, bro. Like, faith is just a description of how we feel without evidence. I don't think that we should use this basis of how much longer, about another 30 minutes here before I can hit that 3-hour mark for the day, but I thought I'd come on at least for a little bit longer and, anyway, so yeah, just for like the last 30 minutes here, we're going to go ahead and run the topic, why are men superior to women? So if you're watching the live and you happen to think that men are superior to women, all things considered, make sure to opt in those guest requests. What's going on, Al? How we doing? Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Appreciate you all for being here. For the first 260 individuals in here, make sure that we're spamming that chat and sending out this live. TikTok is so annoying. Yeah, for real. TikTok is so annoying. Terrible. It's all right. It was a good stream. Just really unfortunate that had to occur. What's up, Barbie? Do you think that men are superior to women, all things considered?
Well, I believe.
Oh, Barbie actually is on MAGA Mobile, so we're going to go to move on to our next guest. Make sure if we are in the guest request, though, that we do think men are superior to women, all things considered. What's up, Nick? How old are you?
Huh?
How old are you?
I'm 13, bro.
And what the fuck are you superior to? Your mother still changes your diapers. What are we up to? What are we doing? What are we doing, Nick? What are we doing? Get out of my live. Moving on to our next guest. All right, let's go ahead and see. Let's go. What's going on? How old are you?
21.
Nice. Do you think that men are superior to women, all things considered?
No, because there are some things that women are built.
Okay, we're looking to talk to people that disagree here, y'all. So give us a moment. And if you want to support me, feel free. My Venmo, my PayPal. What a rough day. All right, everyone just be patient, kind of bear with us here. We're off to a little bit of a rough start, but we're going to try to, get through
Fuck your PayPal. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, what are you so upset about? No, actually tell me. What's it? You said fuck my PayPal? What do you mean by that? Yo, Femboy. I mean, Fox Boy. Fuck. Fox Body. Sorry, Fox Body. You gotta unmute your mic here? Oh, he left. Moving on to our next guest. Let's get and see what Mr. Snorky has to say. Yeah, we're having a little bit of... Hey, what's up, Hallie?
You misogynist fucking prick. Someone ought to bash your fucking face into a goddamn curb.
Why are you calling me misogynist?
Wise ass motherfucker.
Can you wait? Oh my God! Oh, where are they all going? Where are they all going? They're running away. Okay, what are these emotional fucking 20-year-olds with the maturity that of a 12-year-old? I mean, come up here and act like this in my space. Yeah, like, listen, I am a debater. I'm not a kindergarten teacher, right? I didn't get the adequate online certifications to deal with your nonsense. You know, we got to act our age if we're going to come up on the live, all right? That's just a necessary prerequisite. You know what I mean? Hey, what's up? How old are you? All right, they automatically left. Everyone, just be patient with us. We're going to move on to our next guest, Nick. Bear with us here. Hey, what's up, Nick? How old are you? Automatically dropped. All these people hopping in the guest request just to automatically leave. I do apologize, y'all. Stop acting your shoe size? That's funny. I'm going to take that. What's up? How old are you? Okay, do you not have vocal cords? What are we doing? I mean, apparently we're just hopping up in here even though we don't have vocal cords. Oh, Finboy's back? Wait, Foxbody's back? Hey, what's up?
Bitch, I already told you, shut up.
Yeah, why are you so upset? Finboy. Fuck, Foxbody left again. Fuck, Foxbody. I don't know why I'm making that connection in my head. Foxbody. Oh, man. What's up? How old are you?
Hi, I'm 20 years old. I have an immature voice, but hopefully you can, like, respect me if you don't mind.
Yeah. What year are you born in?
2004.
Nice. Do you think that men are superior to women, all things considered?
I think in some areas they are, but I do want to say this right now. I genuinely am a fan of you. I love what you, Parker, Harry, Chris are doing. I think you guys are great. Like, you are some of the most empathetic people, like, I know. Like, I genuinely enjoy watching your streams.
I appreciate that. I'm asking you, like, all things considered here. Like, at the end of the day, are men superior to women?
The best way I can sum this up is I believe that men, like women, are easier to manipulate than men and like easier to indoctrinate. And I believe that, in my opinion, I think that men are intellectually superior, but I do believe that women have the authority and the power to surpass men in many different ways. Like, for example, I think that women have the ability to honestly destroy a man, whether it's like emotionally, but I feel like at the same time, I seen like different like generations and like countries and nations use indoctrination to.
Do you think that we would
change
see a
women's lives.
positive correlation between an individual's and quote unquote intellectual superiority and their like performance in school?
Well, I admit, I do believe that women have better study habits than men. The thing is that I think that when it comes to critical thinking and theorizing and coming up with solutions to problems, I think that men are superior than that.
Then why do we observe the idea that women have a higher IQ than men on average?
Well, because again, IQ, it is the most intellectual way to measure intelligence, but I do believe that women perform better because, again, they have better study habits, they have better focus.
Then what measure are you using here to determine that men are intellectually superior to women if like all the available metrics would suggest the opposite?
Well, because at the end of the day, if you look at, I'm going to try to keep this TikTok friendly. One of the best examples of this is I can say like during World War II, the N group of people, I'm going to be respectful to you. What they would do is they would target women with their like groups and stuff like that, because they knew that if they wanted to indoctrinate a whole nation with the concept that, you know, unaliving 6 million Jewish people is acceptable, they targeted the women.
Well, I mean, hey man, I don't think that using the standard, the Nazis thought this was true, therefore it's true, is going to be adequate for me. The Nazis thought a lot of things. All right.
You're
so
right.
maybe this isn't like the best evidentiary standard to use to justify your claim. You know, it's like you're saying that men are superior to women, as intellectually superior to women, and I'm like, hey, well then why do women outperform men in school? You're like, oh, they have better study habits. And then I'm like, okay, well IQ is, you know, like the best suited metric that we'd have to use to gauge, you know, one's intellectual performance. And is the case that women have a higher IQ on average than men? So it seems like your claim is false. So then I'm like, well, what evidence do you have to suggest that it's true? And then you're like, well, the Nazis thought it was true.
It was just one example, if you don't mind. I'm just saying that.
That's a bad example, though. I mean, the Nazis thought a lot of like false narratives were like true. I mean, do I need to be more specific with that?
They're one of their greatest tools to, push that disgusting thing that they did was they targeted women because that was their method, or that was one of their 9 steps to indoctrination. I do believe that women are easier to indoctrinate than men.
Yeah, I'm asking, can you like give me any reason to believe this though?
Well, one of the reasons why I believe that too is because one of the things that I've read, because I read a lot of books, is I read John D. Rockefeller's Freemasonic Creed. I'm actually from Delaware. There's a lot of Freemasonic lodges here, so I've done tons of studying on them. And a lot of their methods to, creating, like, pushing their agenda is it has to do a lot with taking advantage of female nature.
Listen, you keep on mentioning these groups that thought women were more susceptible towards indoctrination as evidence for the idea that they're more susceptible towards indoctrination. But I think, like, if we look at like traditionalism and these like social norms in which are upheld now and historically speaking, I mean, we're going to see ones that would say, oh, women are so weak, feeble, and emotional and easy to manipulate, not because these things are actually true, but because the society is misogynistic by nature. So I'm asking you for facts. I'm not asking you for a person's opinion or maybe a group of people's opinions. Because those same groups will tell you that men are supposed to lead women and women can't work a job or be a good president. And I mean, I similarly think those claims are false. You have to provide me with hard evidence.
Well, here's the thing. I can't read you the whole Freemasonic Creed, but the person who wrote it, John D. Rockefeller, did want a nation of workers, not thinkers, and how he did that was he funded the what's it called? The women's rights advertisements. He wanted women into the workforce to separate them from the household so that they can indoctrinate the children with educational systems.
But once again, I'm just trying to I'm not going to accept what a group of people thinks as evidence for it being true. We'll need empirical evidence or some other form of observation, experimentation, with the use of the scientific method to conclude this. Like, once again, you say men are intellectually superior to women. I say, no, that's false because women have a higher IQ on average. Then you're like, no, it's true because the Nazis and the Freemasons said so. I think that, like my evidentiary standard of, comparatively higher IQ held by women on average in comparison to men is going to be more reliable insofar as determining quote unquote intellectual superiority than what the Nazis and the Freemasons thought.
I mean, if there's other things like facts, one of the things that I did study a lot of is things that are based on seduction. And when you study things like seduction, you will understand there are principles that will work on that won't work on male nature, but will work on female nature. And I genuinely believe that men and women behave differently, but I guess maybe I worded it wrong. I don't think that one is more superior than the other. I just believe that there are some things that women do better than men and some things that men do. I mean, I think it's a pretty shared balance, but I just wanted to debate you and talk to you because I genuinely am a fan.
Yeah, so I mean, just do you have any evidence that men are intellectually superior to women?
Sources and articles? I do. I mean, at the moment, no, because I'm talking on TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, maybe
if there's books that I would suggest you to read,
how about you just go find a study that would show this is the case, and then you could come back and we could have further discussion. Does that sound good?
Oh yeah, totally.
All right, I appreciate you for coming up, man. We're gonna go to move on to our next guest here. What a crazy take. This is true because the Nazis said so. What the fuck are we doing, y'all? What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? What's up, T. Ross? How old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
Nice. Do you think that men are superior to women, all things considered?
I think I'm superior to you, motherfucker.
Why so? I asked you a question. If you were an alpha male and I was a beta male, well, how come I made you run away by asking you a single question? All of these superior alpha males running away from the betas. Running away from the beta males. The alpha is so scared of the beta. This superior big man is running away from the inferior little beta. Big talker. Oh, he's running back. Damn, that one hurt you, huh?
What'd you say, boy?
I said, the alpha male running away from the beta. Why are you so emotional and angry? What? Who are you? What's your deal?
What'd you say, boy?
You heard what I said, boy.
Repeat that for me one more time, boy.
I said you ain't shit.
What the fuck?
Oh yeah, you get that? You want me to go more in depth? You ain't shit.
I'm
Talking about
mogging
yourself
you.
like some alpha male, bro. Stop projecting your damn insecurities onto me,
You're
sir.
getting mogged right now, boy. I'm mogging you.
You think you're mogging?
I'm mogging you right now, boy.
Okay, making more claims without substantiation, I see. You're delusional.
I mog you. What the fuck you mean, no claim?
Then turn on the camera. What happened to the mog?
What?
What happened
I'm
to the
in
mog?
bed right now.
Yo,
dude. I just got
Lexi, I
home from 12
appreciate you
hours
so
of
much for the
work.
$10 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love,
I
Lexi.
just
Let's
got
get a
home from 10
W,
hours of
Lexi,
work. You know,
for the
I work a
$10
blue
on
collar
Venmo.
job.
Yo,
What the fuck can
Lexi just
you
told
do?
me that I mog the fuck out of you. Lexi just said that, you know, I'm your
Who
superior.
the fuck is Lexi?
A supporter that just sent me $10 on Venmo. How do you feel about that?
Is that where your income comes from? Some bitches on TikTok?
Okay,
I work
I mean,
blue collar.
I mean, first of all, don't call like women bitches, and then second of all, my income does come from TikTok. Yeah, what's the issue with this?
That's embarrassing. You work for
Why
TikTok,
is it embarrassing?
dude?
No, why is it embarrassing? Why is it
I
embarrassing for me
mog
to
you.
wait?
I
Answer my
mog
question.
you.
Well, why is it embarrassing for me to like make my income off of TikTok?
Because what do you do for America?
What do I
about
do
that?
for America? I socially advocate for underrepresented groups in which the majority holds a strong prejudice against. Yo, Michelle, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. Holy shit. Thank you so much for the love.
Dude,
W
you're
Michelle,
freaking
W
out over
$20.
$20,
And
man.
Kidda, thank you for the dollar on
Hey,
Venmo.
how
I've never
broke
seen
are
you
you,
mog this
Bubba?
hard. Of course I'm freaking out on over $20. That's a lot of money for someone to give me.
That ain't
What's the issue with that?
shit.
20 bucks ain't shit?
That ain't shit, boy.
Oh, how much money do you make in a day?
You know what I do for a job?
What do you do? Also,
I'm a coal
$20.
miner, boy. I'm
$20
underground.
$20 is a lot of money.
Who
Michelle, I
reported
really
me? Hold
appreciate
on.
you
Who
for that.
reported me? What the
Thank you so much for the $20, Michelle. That is a bit of money.
I'm a
Thank
coal
you.
miner. I
You're-
come home dirty. I get showered and bathed by my
Bro,
wife.
you go to work dirty with those fucking beliefs.
What are you What?
You heard me. You go to work dirty with those beliefs.
What beliefs? You don't even know my beliefs.
Yeah, the shit that you're saying on live, bro. Come on. Are you just jealous that people are sending me money on Venmo and PayPal? In bio, by the way.
I would much rather be an alpha male mining coal underground.
No,
than be
are
sitting in my
you
chair
like
all day.
every single time someone sends me a donation, it almost just sounds like you're really jealous.
You're sitting in the chair. That's fake money to me. That ain't
Wait,
hard-earned money.
Wait, what do you mean? It's what
You
do
ever
you
heard of a haircut, boy? You look
Do
like
you-
a female.
I look like it. Honestly, bro, I would rather look like a female than a male. I think that
What
you know,
the fuck?
they take care of them like in this
What the
particular in like these particular ways. They take care of themselves better. It's also like there's studies that would indicate that like men who are more like feminine presenting are like typically understood to be more attractive.
So you're a femboy.
What does that mean? Because I have longer hair? Are you a
You just-
Christian? Was Jesus a femboy because he had
I'm
longer
mogging.
hair?
Yeah, he was a femboy. He was.
Bro, please. Stefan, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love.
How does it feel? I'm
Let's get a
sitting up here
W, Stefan.
mogging
Thank
you
you so
right
much for the love. W, Stefan. Stefan just said that I'm mogging you.
Who the fuck is Stefan? Didn't say shit. He just sent you $5, dude.
Stefan said that I'm mogging you.
Stefan, come on up here. Let's have
I have a
little
question.
talk,
Why is
buddy.
being feminine wrong?
Because you're a man. The fuck?
Wait, do you think like it makes me like less of a man to present more femininely, like by like having longer hair, or like
If you act feminine, yeah.
so
That's
you
wrong.
you think that manhood and womanhood is based upon the way in which an individual would act and perceive themselves, not what's in between someone's legs?
Yeah.
Oh, so like you think that trans women are women, right?
Yeah.
Bro, what the hell? I mean W, but like, huh? Lawson, thank you for the $6.66 on Venmo for being an alpha. Thank you so much for the love, Lawson.
Dude,
W Lawson.
I'm still
I mean,
mogging
like,
you right now.
what the fuck? W? What the hell?
Can you stop reporting me? What
So
the fuck?
you're coming up here and you're like mad at me for saying that men aren't superior to women, but then
As
you
a
also
matter
like,
of fact, I'm attracted to trans women.
I mean W, but I don't see how that belief coincides with your obvious disdain towards me for saying that misogyny is wrong.
I'm just superior. That's why, boy.
For what reason? Why are men superior to women?
No, I didn't say women. I said to you.
Why are you superior to me?
Because I work and mine coal while you sit in a chair all day doing shit.
So you exhaust more energy for less money. That just makes you not that
I
smart.
do not look.
superior.
How much money you make a year? How much money did you make in 2023?
I'm not gonna share that information with you.
Was it over 150,000?
Annie, I appreciate you for the $15 on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love, Annie. Let's get a W Annie in the comment section right now. Thank you so much for the $15. Let's fucking go. Thank you so much for the love, Annie. I'm not gonna share that information with you. Yo, Heidi with the $20 on PayPal says mogging the coal miner. Let's go. Yo, Heidi and Annie popping off. And Heidi, thank you so much. Sorry, Heather, thank you for the $20 for mogging the coal miner. Let's go. Let's get a W Heather in that comment section for the $20 mogging the coal miner. How do you feel that Heather literally just sent me $20 just to say that I'm mogging you? Let's get a W Heather. It wasn't Heidi. It was
You ain't
Heather,
mogging
guys.
shit.
I'm mogging you,
hold
bro.
this L. I'm gonna look at your
Yo,
profile
Stefan,
picture,
shut up.
greatness.
Stefan, shut up. Stefan, thank you for the $5
What
on
the
Venmo. You're more
fuck?
of an alpha male than him. Let's get a W, Stefan, in that comment section. Thank you for the $5.
You're just lying
Continue.
now, dude. You're
No,
just
bro.
lying now.
No, I have Stefan. I have
Show
like
me the receipts. Show me the receipts.
The receipts of what?
Of the Venmo. Go ahead and show me the notification.
How?
You can pull your phone up. I want to see all these messages.
I mean, do you want to see like the Venmo from Stefan?
No, I want to see like you just said you got like $50. Let's see all the notifications.
Why? Oh, I mean, I could like pull up my Venmo on my laptop, and I don't mind showing you it from Stefan. Kiss, I
No,
appreciate
I didn't
you for the
say
fruit
Stefan.
fins.
I said from all of them, boy.
Well, I mean, like, I don't mind. I'll just blur out that last name.
I can't see shit.
I mean, I don't.
You said
how
you
am I?
just got
am
like
I supposed to-
$60 in 4 minutes. I want to see these goddamn notifications.
How? Like, I have my phone streaming and I have my laptop that I could pull up PayPal and Venmo on. I mean, wait. Why the fuck do I need to show you? Are you just jealous? I was playing in there. I was like, oh my god, sure. Like, I'm a debater. I have to justify my
Just show
claims.
us all. Let's see these notifications.
Wait. No, I was in my debate mindset. Like, when someone asked anything of me, I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I gotta show proof and justify my claims. I don't have to show you shit.
Yeah, you do.
You're jealous as hell. You're jealous because I'm sitting in a
I
chair.
make over
Absolutely.
$150,000 a year salary.
Look at it, talking about your money.
How much you make a year?
Bro, literally name how much you make in a day, and I fucking bet that we could do it in the next 10 minutes.
I'm not paycheck by paycheck like you, boy.
You are so upset. You're up here talking about money, little bro. So fucking
Little
embarrassing.
bro, I'm 6'4". Who's little
Mike? Mike with a $50. Shut up. Mike with a $50 on Venmo. Holy shit. Mike, thank you so much for the $50 on Venmo. That's insane, Mike. Let's get a W, Mike, in the comment section literally right now for the $50 on Venmo. Making Dean money. That's a crazy message to attach, but thank you so much for the love, Mike. It is pissing this misogynist the fuck off. Thank you for the love, Mike. Yeah, of course. You think that you're superior to women.
I said to you.
Oh,
dumbass.
so you're not a misogynist. You're
Are
just
you a
like
woman?
you're just like an angry, irrational, toxic
Are you a
man.
woman?
No, I'm a man.
So how am I misogynist, you dumb motherfucker?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I guess you're not misogynist. You're just stupid.
I'm just better than you.
Mike, seriously, thank you for the $50. If anyone else wants to, support me, we got the Venmo and the PayPal in the bio. You know what? So what are you freaking out? Are you jealous that like I'm sitting here and like people are sending me money? Like, do you think this isn't a real job?
I don't think it's a real job, no.
Yeah, what's a real job?
I think working for your country is a real job. I make America better.
Wait, I make America better too.
How?
How? By like progressing individuals' beliefs in the correct direction.
It's not really. How's that really making America better?
Because I'm like diminishing like the existence. Thank you so much for the money, gun. I appreciate you for the love. And Mia, thank you for the $2 on PayPal. Thank you so much, W Mia. Because I'm like diminishing like the prejudice, at least to like some threshold through like my social advocation, and which is really important. And it literally makes the constituents of the nation live like happier, better lives. Like, I mean, if we existed in a society where like no one was like misogynistic to women or homophobic to like members of the LGBTQ plus community, of course we're going to see like the average quality of life increase, which would in turn make America better.
So you think how long you been doing this for then?
Year and a half.
You think you changed America?
Like in like a small degree. Yo, what's up, Jack? You said I'm not working a real job? Oh, Jack can't even speak.
Yeah, no, you don't work a real job, bro.
Why is this not a real job, Jack?
You sit in a fucking chair all day talking bullshit out your fucking face.
I mean, are you just saying that it's not a real job because you don't like me?
You sit there and spread propaganda, bro. Like,
One
you're
second.
stupid.
One second. Ali, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. Let's get a W, Ali, in the chat for the $10 on Venmo. Ali says, shut up. Ali says,
Shut up.
money for real
You look
job.
like a
Let's go.
bitch.
Let's get a W, Ali. Oh my God, are you so mad that people are
Yo,
sending me
Jack,
money?
why don't you
like
got
a
your
bitch.
face as your profile
Oh
picture?
my gosh, Jack, you are literally so fucking money that I'm sitting here speaking for what is good and people are sending me money on Venmo.
Yo,
and PayPal.
someone just sent me
what
a
is good. You're
confetti.
lying. You lie every day. You get on here and lie every day, bro.
What do I particularly lie about, Jack?
You say Biden's a good president. That's the biggest lie anybody could ever
Biden's
say.
definitely better than Trump.
Yeah, you're stupid, bro.
Why is Trump better than Biden?
That proves to me everything right there. What I know about you, bro. You're an
Can
idiot.
you could you justify your claim there? Why is Trump better than Biden? If it's so idiotic to support Biden, the reasons insofar as why Trump is better should be very clear, right?
All I gotta say, bro, is the country was way better when he was in office.
How so?
11 million illegals in the country right now, bro. That's enough proof right there. Like, what
So
the fuck?
Biden, tried to pass border policy through Congress that Trump then called the Republicans in Congress to not vote for as it made the Democrats look good. B,
Only
Biden had the
reason he
same
did
border
that is
policy as
because-
Obama, yet Obama had less border crossings than Trump. So what this shows is that it's a correlation, not a
What?
causation.
That's bullshit.
It's
That's a
bullshit.
false
Can you give me
claim.
evidence for that? Go ahead and pull up the statistics.
That's a false claim.
Pull
Obama
up the
had people
statistics
in
and prove me
cages
wrong.
on the border.
Wait, the cages that were never used by Obama? Oh, crazy.
Oh yeah, I see, yeah. Everybody's seen those pictures, bro.
Yeah, those were not pictures taken under Obama's presidency. They're
That's
actually
bullshit.
taken under
That's
Trump's.
false.
Trump
That-
used the
that
cages.
literally happened.
Can you give me any evidence for that?
Yeah, it was on the news.
All right, so what on the news? Yeah, super good source, man. Can you give me a particular article?
Yeah, that's where all you guys get y'all's information.
Can you
CNN,
could you
fucking
give me
all that
the-
bullshit.
Could you give me the name of an article to type in?
The name of an article.
Yeah, any evidence to prove your
You
claims.
should
Hey,
have that, bro. You got all the information. You know all the answers.
what I'm saying is that you are wrong and it doesn't exist. That's why I don't have the
That's
name of the
not
article.
true. I know I'm right. I've seen the evidence, and you're wrong.
Can you give me the evidence?
No, I can't.
Okay, so you're actually just lying in front of
Oh, I'm
1.3 thousand
lying.
people?
You get on here and lie every day, bro.
You weren't able to name one lie. I said you're just mad because I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah, right.
You also you're saying that this isn't a real job, buddy. You're so delusional. You're so delusional.
Bro.
Yo, Peter, I appreciate you for the $10 on Venmo. Let's get a W, Peter, in that chat. Thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. And he left. Moving on to our next guest here. If anyone does want to support me, right, we got our Venmo and our PayPal in that bio, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely the best way to support me in the world. But thank you so much for the love, Peter. We're going to move on. You're just mad that they have to work 9 to 5. So real. Moving on.
We're gonna move on.
Hey, what's up? How are you, Bobby?
Yeah. Yeah, what's up?
All right. Sorry, Bobby. I do apologize for removing you. You just had a bit of an echo. They're so jealous. For real. What's up? How old are you?
Give me just 1 second.
Okay. 1,000. Do you think that men are superior to women, all things considered?
Sorry, I had to put my headphones in. I'm just curious. In what aspect are you saying why are men superior to women?
Like all things considered, like at the end of the day, would you say that men are just better or have more value than women?
No. Personally, I mean, in the workforce, there's different aspects to it. So, I mean, I can't just say
Appreciate you for coming up, man. We're going to move on to our next guest. We had some really emotional guests there. We had some really emotional guests here. Oh, shit. Hello, Janet.
Yo. Oh, okay. What's up, brother? What's going on, dog?
Oh, damn. That's crazy.
Yeah, brother.
Why are you making false essay claims about Parker?
Is that what you've been doing, dog?
No, that's what you've been doing. I'm just wanted to ask you why. Oh, they didn't want to respond. Okay, sounds good. I really hope that someone got that. That was the account that has been making false essay allegations about Parker. Also claiming that they're a woman. I don't think that was a woman. We're gonna move on to our next guess. That was not QB. Oh, wow. I really thought that was QB. That wasn't QB. Holy crap. Who the fuck was that? Like wow. QB wasn't lying. I guess it's not QB. Yeah, who was that? For real. That's so crazy. QB said that he swore on the Bible it wasn't him. I guess he was right. I guess like QB was just opportunistic, saw some other motherfucker making false claims about him on live and then took a hold of it. What's up? How old are you? All right, Xavier wasn't here. Moving on to our next guess. Someone in the chat said you're assuming it's not a woman. Yes, I am assuming that's not a woman because I don't think any woman would make false essay allegations. It's only something men do. We're going to move on to our next guest. Everyone just give us a moment. Make sure if we are in those guest requests, do you think that men are superior to women, all things considered? Hey, what's up? How old are you?
I'm probably too young for this.
No shit. Moving on. Look at all the crybabies in the chat saying that women make more false essay claims than men. No, it's women who actually don't lie about traumatic experiences.
Dean, are you fucking retarded?
Okay. Why do you gotta slur my live, man? Yeah, then the men are like, oh,
No,
hey,
Parker definitely essayed Janet. Like, it definitely happened. Like,
are you joking?
no, yeah, I know Janet. No, I go way back with Janet.
I mean, I like trolling like about this isn't funny because that like impacts a man's livelihood.
Yeah, well, that's on Parker for essaying Janet. Janet like DM me and let me know everything about what Parker
Is Janet a man or a woman?
It's gender neutral, non-binary.
How many continents are there?
Huh?
How many continents are there?
7.
7?
Are you dumb?
I'm so fucking. Are you?
Are you fucking dumb? Like you tried that? Are you think you smart?
Oh, I know. I'm surprised that you answered that question right. You exceeded my expectations. Oh my god. Yeah,
dumb.
dude, God first in the bio.
Janet got
No, honestly, I was gonna fucking kick you because you just slurred on my live until I saw your bio. I want you to go ahead and answer this question. All of these little fucking children.
Parker, you fucked Parker and you fucked him and sucked his dick. Fuck out of here. And Janet got essayed by fucking Parker. Fuck you talking about?
Hey,
And
Maya,
probably
are you a
essayed her
Christian?
too. I know Janet.
Are you a Christian? It says
Me and
God
Janet
first
go
in your bio.
way back. Me and Janet go way
Hey, Maya,
back.
you are
Oh,
so
yeah,
delusional.
God first, but yeah, why y'all quoting?
Wait,
what's
would
in my
Jesus
bio?
would
So
Jesus
I
would
can't
Jesus support
believe
what
in
you're
God
doing?
and talk shit to you at the same.
Yeah, would Jesus support what you're doing?
Bro, shut up, shut up, shut up.
Maya, you are the problem with Christians. It is literally the most ignorant, hateful people in the world that take Christianity and from a symbol of peace and love and turn it into a weapon of hate. Like, you are one of the most severely deluded, unacquainted with reality motherfuckers I've spoken on my live. And listen to you now, getting all emotionally because you're getting intellectually destroyed by a 19-year-old on TikTok. How does it fucking feel? You are so mad to see me win. You are so mad to see Parker win because you sit in your little fucking echo chamber talking to other deluded Christians such as QB 110% of the day, and instead of you actually engaging with our content in good faith, trying to either logically critique it or adopt the worldview, you just sit and you make up these fringe conspiracy theorists that you try to use to diminish like my character or Parker's character to in turn diminish the value of the words that we're saying. Get fucked. Moving on. Hey, what's up? How old are you?
Yeah, what's up? 24.
Nice, man. Do you think that men are superior to women, all things considered?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, why so?
Let's see. Infrastructure can be thanked by men, not by women. Let's see.
Wait, what infrastructure have you built?
Let's just start with that first.
What infrastructure have you built?
I built a shed one time.
Okay, so you haven't built any infrastructure. Does this mean that you're a beta male?
I mean, shed is kind of considered infrastructure.
Can
You know what the
women build a
definition of
shed?
infrastructure is?
Can women build a shed?
Sure they can, but do they? No.
Wait, I have a question. So before you built your shed, were you a little beta male?
No, that's not exactly
Wait,
what.
why? Because if like the reason that men are superior to women is predicated on the idea that they build infrastructure and women don't, well,
You're the
you
first
building
one who
any
said anything
infrastructure, would
about
you be beta male
or
prior?
alpha male. Like nobody's even debating that. I'm
Well,
literally
I mean,
just
like
saying that.
typically these words are used to like say this is a superior man and this is not a superior man. So are you just like an
Okay, Dean,
inferior
what are the
man
most
before you built
dangerous
your shed?
jobs? What are the most dangerous jobs in the world, and how many of those?
Now answer my question. Were you an inferior
How many
man
women
before you
died on
built the
Ice
shed?
Road Truckers last season, Dean?
Why
Like, come
can't
on,
you
dude.
answer my question, dude?
Okay, sure.
Were you an inferior man before you built that shed?
No.
Okay, so then building infrastructure is not the predicate of what determines
I'm just
superiority and
saying,
inferiority.
obviously, women do need men to be able to build those infrastructures because they obviously don't. Yeah.
Wait, I don't
Why-
think because like the
Why
vast
is
majority
less-
of people
Why,
who like
why
work
are
in
only 12.6% of women even in the construction field, and why out of that 12%, why is less than 1% actually out on the job site? Why are they in admin, clerical work positions? Is it because they just they're being shunned from that industry? Is that what you're gonna say?
I mean, I'm trying to respond here, but you just keep yapping.